everyone here, not just everyone here, not just, you guys, like, because half of you are the audience, half of you are doing what I'm doing. So it's like, yeah, let me know. This is fun. This is going to be fun for me. I hope it's fun for you.
I'm sure it'll be great. So it looks like it's 5:06. So what do you think, Peter? Should we
Yeah, you want to get
begin?
into it?
I'd love to welcome everyone to session 3. There'll probably be more people joining, but in the meantime, it's good to see you. It's always appreciated if we can see your faces if you're able. You don't have to keep it on the whole time, but it is nice because we were just saying a few minutes ago that sometimes it feels like you're speaking into the void, if there's almost no screen. So those of you that faces we do see, we especially appreciate it. Thank you for the extra effort. And this time we're changing the format a little bit. So instead of doing the usual catching up with you all and going through the homework and so forth for the first hour, then having the speaker for the middle part, and then processing the assignment and so forth after in the next homework, then we're going to actually start with the speaker who fit us into his very busy schedule. And with that, we'll let Ray introduce himself, tell a little bit about who he is, his background, so we know where he's coming from, and then what he's doing now that's very exciting and relevant to all of us.
Thanks. So you can you see me? Yeah, you can see me, right? I'll share my screen. And part of my sharing of my, this deck I made is my pitch deck for investors. And part of it is just the journey of how I got here. Okay, so you can stop me anytime, ask questions, yell, tell me it's not making sense, and feel free. Okay, anyone, call if I'm not making sense. Feel free to tell me I'm not making sense, all right?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. Tell me when you can see it.
Looks great, a journey.
Okay, that's what this is, right? There's no ending to what we're doing. Often I felt like, man, I'm gonna do this and I'm done. And then I get bored or I fail or all these things happen. I'm like, oh, there's something else. It's just nonstop. So there's no end game here. You have your business, something will happen, and you either sell it or you keep it, but it's not like, it's unending. You're constantly changing, and that's fine. There's no particular goal you have to have. So what's my journey? I started off in advertising in America. I was born in India. I wanted to be in advertising, studied in Syracuse, went to New York, got into Saatchi & Saatchi, did a bunch of different things. This was my first ad introducing the red balloon in Lucky Charms. I had all these high ideals, and this was my first thing. And I'm like, oh God, I hate this business. So anyway, I went from there to JWT, to Chiat/Day, which was a nice agency at the time, where I learned a lot of stuff. And that's when I one of the agencies that did this ad. I don't know if they still run it, but it used to run in New York. I did this in 1991, and people donate quotes. They like it, so they look at this on the subway, and it's all over the place, and they donate quotes. I don't know. Is it still running, Carl? This thing? I'm not in New York right now, everyone. So yeah.
I haven't seen it this year, but I saw it last year, and I shared with Ignition Lab folks like a few times when Ray's spoken that this advertisement years ago actually inspired me to donate 2 of my jackets I've been holding on to since high school. I overrode the sentimental attachment. I was really inspired and emotionally moved by this. That's a true story.
I mean, the truth about this thing is, like, of all the hundreds, thousands of ads and campaigns I've done over time in all over the place, New York, Berlin, Amsterdam, I still like this one, and it works, even though, hypothetically digital works better. This thing was just an image that moved people, and they donated quotes. Simple. So my point being, something crafted well and thought through that connects at an emotional level works. And that's not just with an ad, it's products too. If you just connect with it on an emotional level and it works, you're good. If it works and you're not connecting with it on an emotional level, it won't work as well. Okay, so this was when I was at Chiat/Day. This is in the career of like hustling. Not that you ever will stop hustling, but I loved this place. It was really amazing at its time. Gaetano Pesce designed it. I met Andy Spade, and he was forming Kate Spade at the time with Kate. So it was like I was learning like a madman, and I just loved it. Won a gold lion because at the time those were my aspirations. Like, I have to be the best creative. I'm like, God, useless. But that's what I did. Won the gold lion, completely disillusioned, going, this is ridiculous. Came back to New York because I was in Amsterdam then. Came back to New
You
York
want
and
to
I thought,
define what the gold lion
Yeah,
is for everyone?
thank
that
you. I was
doesn't
about
know?
to say, you just skipped over a pretty major detail. Not everyone knows what the Golden Lion is.
at the time, there are all these award shows, you know, for any industry you're in, there are like hundreds of award shows. And basically it's just a game. You win these awards to, you know, make more money or get more clients or get famous or whatever the hell you're doing in your business. So at the time, this was considered in the world the most prestigious award. So I said, I got to get that because that's the way I used to be. And I wanted, it was like you game the system. You look at it, you see what wins, and you do something like it, and you win. I mean, that's how I looked at it. And I realized, man, when I went there to collect it in Cannes, in France, you know, the Cannes movie thing, they have an advertising version. And I was just like, these are not my people. I gamed the system. I need to be in another business, because the way I looked at it was like, they gave me a great award. And if I was a doctor, if they would give me an award for beautiful stitches for a dead client, a dead patient, as opposed to like a patient that's alive and had like 12 grandkids with bad stitches. And I'm like, I'm in the wrong business. So it was a lot of flash. The point being, it was a great thing to win at the time, but it disillusioned me. I came back to New York and had an agency called The Concept Farm, which just closed last year. After I left it 4 years ago, and it just closed last year. It was my own agency. I tried to take that disillusionment and turn it into something like really what I thought was ethically, morally, everything sound. I just couldn't do it. The industry kept me in a place like you couldn't succeed. I felt like I couldn't succeed in the industry as it was, and neither could I change it. So I had to step out of it, which is what I did. Well, anyway, while at that agency, I rebranded the Empire State Building. So this thing might be going on too. The every Valentine's Day it pulses like red, like a heartbeat. And the whole thing was it's the heart of New York City. So even though the heartbeat's kind of just a little manifestation of it, the real rebranding was in terms of how they communicated, how they behaved, the uniforms they wore. They redid the entire experience from the ground floor all the way to the top with, you know, redesigning so that everyone is not handled like cattle, but they have different things to do in the process. So this might still be there on 14th of February. It might still like flash like a heartbeat. These are a bunch of clients I worked on. Suffice to say, like, there's almost no kind of sector I haven't worked on. Fine. Then I started a consulting company where I would work on interesting things that I felt that marketing couldn't approach, as in systemic change from a product standpoint. And it one of my products, this was the name of the company, is the name of the company, I still have it, was the most interesting client we had was you know, the climate change in some manner, but a lot of it, pollution is called, even temperature change is caused by fossil fuel. It's pretty big. The way they process plastic it's a mess. It really is a mess. And it's not just a physical mess like you see. It's all plastic is just it's terrible. Now, I'm not saying there are certain things it's not useful for, but single-use plastic is the worst thing possible. Like, never use a bottle, like never use a plastic bottle if you can help it. Just, you know, you reuse your bottle. So the project became reuse, and we are writing the global standards. My client partner is in Uruguay. I think she came back. There was a treaty being signed. You know, it's part of the whole climate change thing. So it's a massive undertaking. We're writing the standards for reuse, the reusable containers. So don't use single-use plastic. Use reuse containers. That's the idea. It's a big project, and it'll, you know, it's a 10-year shift. It's not going to happen overnight. Now this is my favorite thing. This is what I'm on right now. So this is what I'm excited by. I'll go a little slower. I love this thing. It's connected to the Cognitoform you mentioned, Peter. You know, I tried to do it last year, and we didn't have the technology that was available. Now with these large language models, I don't know if you know what they are, GPT-3, you know, these generators, and DALL-E, you probably know these things. We can train it in a certain way, not just to write stuff, but to brand stuff, the holistic picture, right? So it's fascinating. So let me show you what I'm doing. I'm going to jump to, why isn't this moving? What the hell? Oh man, my screen's frozen. Oh, something happened. Sorry guys. Let me.
Now it looks like it's working because you can see your cursor moving.
Yeah. Let me. So I messed something up. Not exactly sure what, but I'll just switch to something else. Another deck. Sorry. Oh, I see what I did.
Ray, what was the other AI program? You said Dolly, which I know well. What's the other one?
GPT-3. They're from this business organization called OpenAI, and there
Okay,
are
yeah, I
many.
know OpenAI.
There are many large language models out there. It's not just these two. I like OpenAI because they're the most thought through, stable. I think good people compared to a lot of the other things going on. You know. So anyway, let me get back to this thing. And I'm going to share my screen again. Hang on. All right, that's the same thing, right? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, this is my pitch deck. So I'm transitioning from the stuff I've done in the past to now I'm with you guys out there hustling for investors. And it is a completely different experience. It's not like there are power structures on there. You go into a room and it's like there are these big shots. And I'm like, I can't stand it. I'm like, you have to work with an investor that's a partner rather than some big shot bestowing upon you something. You know, it's a give and take. Anyway, completely different life right now. I'm on your level now, like figuring this out, hustling. There's no game here. This is the real thing. So, okay, I present like this. I say, so AI essentially, I mean, is associated with the lack of, empathy. And that's what we're doing. We're creating brands with empathy. The fact is, if if you have two products that are the same, you'll buy one you have an emotional connection with. That's just the way it is. So building emotional connection into your brand is crucial. Otherwise you're just generic, so okay. They say at this stage that because we only have a prototype, we don't have paying users yet. They meaning investors say, we want to see who you are, and we want to see your vision, and we want to see your drive. So I started with this. Initially, my pitch deck was like showing the idea. They said, before you show the idea, I want to know who you are. So this is why we put ourselves here. And we put sound bites of things that an investor wants to see, why it's us that they want to invest in, connected to this business. So I only took out certain things from my career and stuck them in it that's appropriate for this, as did Hide Harashima, our CTO, as did Brian Gold, who's our creative director, who also is runs a small business. So he knows what he's doing in terms of what a small business like you guys need to brand and to do marketing, as well as he's got two businesses going on right now. Okay, so as we know, it's a nightmare marketing. It's just a bloody mess. You don't know where to start. You start with a logo, a website, something or the other. There's no clear process. Everyone's telling you something different. There's no universal way to market. And everyone's telling you something different because they're selling you something. So we stepped back and we went, what is the way to do it? Like, there has to be one way. It can't be a million ways. There has to be, because everything you do in life, you have a before. I mean, you have a before, a during, and an after. As in, you get a project to do, you think about it, you plan, you act, and then you finish it. I don't know if you can hear my kid. He's yelling around. Hang on. Babe, I'm in a meeting. Stop yelling. Playing with the dog. Sorry. Okay, so marketing is opaque. It's hard. It's expensive as hell. Like, good luck hiring someone, because they should be paid, right? A good designer needs to be paid a lot. A good writer, a good strategist. It takes up an enormous amount of time. Like, you guys want to sit and do your product. Meanwhile, you have to do marketing to sell the damn thing, later on. So, and it's random. Like, you spend a ton of money and it doesn't work, then you have to try something else. So there's no like grounding to it, but it's essential. Okay. Having stated the problem, here's our solution. It's the only AI-enabled marketing platform to provide small businesses with world-class agency power. And we have to say it, to an investor, yeah, we are the world-class guys that are building this product because we know what it takes. And it's too expensive to hire an agency if you're a small business. So what's our secret sauce that all the AI-enabled marketing platforms don't have? Now, I don't know if you guys are aware of the ones out there like Jasper. Has anyone heard of Jasper.ai? I guess not. So there are a bunch of these AI platforms out there that just give you a little piece. They'll give you a writing piece, or they'll give you an Instagram generator, or they'll give you all these little email generator. None of them give you the generators for the appropriate channel you need at the time. Like, someone may need email, someone may need a website, someone may need a logo, but there's a process to all this. And the process is, it's relatively simple if you know what it is. Like, you start off with your purpose on the why you're doing it, what you're doing, how you're doing it, purpose, vision, mission, those kinds of things. So we've codified those things into what we call brand DNA. Once you have that DNA can guide every single bit of your brand. And how can it guide it with what we're doing? You can apply the DNA to all these generative AIs to get these outputs. Hope I'm making sense here, not talking jargon. Am I making sense? Carl, let me know.
Absolutely.
Okay. If I'm not, just stop me, right? Because that's what my partners say. Sometimes they're like, we don't know what they're talking about.
I think that most of our students are pretty tech savvy and understand the open AI system. So
awesome. That's good.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah, because the issue is you can get these things out there right now, but they're like light. They don't go deep. Here's our prototype. Now I'm going to be dancing around here. I have to demo this for you guys. So let me know. I'm going to stop sharing and get the demo and be as quick as I can. All right.
Ray, I have a question real quick.
Sure.
What is the difference between normal marketing and AI marketing? I know one's like computer generated, but what is the main difference there?
Normal marketing, this thing is helping you write. It's helping you design a strategy. It's helping you output visuals. I'll show you right now. Like normal marketing, meaning you go to an agency, you'll brief them and they'll give you stuff, your website and things like that. You're not doing it yourself. So two things are happening. First of all, it's expensive. Secondly, you're not learning anything. You're not learning about your brand. You're like having someone else do it. And you should own the strategy of your brand. You can't have someone else own it. That makes no sense. So, if you separate brand from your product, I don't think it's a good idea. It's one. So this thing allows you to do it yourself as opposed to, you can't learn a whole field all of a sudden, but these AIs allow you to do it. Can you see my screen?
Gotcha. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So you have another question? I hope that answered you. I think going through the demo will answer the question.
No, it makes a lot of sense. You're basically doing two things. Usually you're outsourcing instead of you owning your own brand identity, and you're paying an insane amount of money. And so those are the two big factors, it sounds like.
Yeah. And also, you're doing this with AI. Like, you're not starting with a blank slate. It's actually helping. You'll see it. Okay. So remember, this is a prototype. It's only got 1/100th of the elements we're going to hopefully have in March. That's too much to expect, but we're aiming for March. Okay. So for our this is a prototype, meaning my goal was, does the technology work? Like if we were building an airplane, does it fly 20 feet? And it did, and it surpassed that. So now we're going to develop, the proof of point. That's what you talked about earlier, Peter, right? Does your product work? This proved to us that it works. Is it ready for people to pay? Not at all. Like, I would not make anyone pay for this. I'd be like, go play on it all you want. I know what's wrong with it. You can tell me what's wrong, but I know what's wrong with it. And we're preparing the next step. So here's the difference between other AIs and us. We start with a strategy, which are all these things. Okay. We'll ask you for a business description, which will help you define your purpose and your audience and your vision and your mission, your characteristics that start individualizing your brand. Okay. So I'm going to show you one or two things. Any one of you, give me your business description. Anyone, I don't care. Like, so whoever wants to do it, and I'll start typing. Anyone, call, anyone, you have a business thing you want to discuss?
Come on, guys, hop in.
I have one.
Okay.
So I'm making a street sports magazine that
Do you have
gets
a name
ripped,
for it?
Get Stoked.
Well, hang on. Okay, I'm terrible at typing.
Okay.
Okay, keep going. Who's it for? Okay, I'll ask you. Who's it for? What is it? You said it already. What makes it different and why you're doing it? Now you don't have to give me all that because but that would be optimum. So since we're doing it quick, just give me who's it for?
It's for BMX, skateboarding, parkour athletes. It is better than all the other magazines because it has an artistic angle and incorporates elements of all sports instead of just one. So it's instead of having just one magazine about skateboarding, it's a magazine about all street sports.
Sorry, my phone. All right, is that good enough? I'm not going to obsess with it.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Artistic. All right. So this is now to generate your purpose, why you're doing it. All right. Like, because we're building your brand DNA. Let's see what it's done. Okay. Any of these you like? To inspire and inspire others. That's the mistake. By celebrating the unique beauty that is found in street sports. To encourage people to push themselves to excel in their chosen fields of play. To provide a platform for street sports athletes to be recognized and celebrated for their unique talents and abilities. So let me express what it's doing for you. It's elevating it's helping you elevate why you're doing this, to go, oh my God, it's helping me build a brand now. For instance, let's say point 3, to provide a platform. So that's no longer a magazine. It's providing many other things. It's helping you think of the other things. So anyway, of these 3, which one resonates with you?
The top one, to inspire.
Okay, to inspire, obviously you can go in there and,
Yeah.
And edit it. So you heart that there and you get your brand purpose. Okay, now that's gone into the database. That's your brand purpose. And you can always go back and change it. I'm not going to take you through all the other things like audience, vision, mission. Suffice it to say that your input elevates it and packages it in such a way that it takes it one level more than you thought it would. The AI, someone asked me how AI helps. You see, it's gone from this, which is factual, to this, which is about inspiring.
So
Which
cool.
It's taken it to a whole other level. And I can okay, maybe I should do the vision too. Why not? Well, let's try the mission. Remember, I'm skipping steps now. This is, so this was the previous thing I did. Okay. So let's do the mission, which is, so your purpose is why you're doing it. It's the highest level. The vision is what you see in the future. The mission is how you're going to accomplish that vision. So let's see what it says. This is something from the last. I'm sorry, this is from the last generation of things I was doing.
Okay.
Okay. So you see now it's taking your purpose and it's activating it. Like, how am I going to do this? So which of these do you feel like works? It should be 3, but this is a prototype.
Let's see, to go to source. Probably the middle one.
Okay.
The only change being that.
Okay, you see, got it. So I put it there. Now that is gone into your database. Then you can jump into building let's say what's the name of your thing again?
Get Stoked.
So let's say you want to have a sub brand, right? Is launching,
Ray, can you define a little bit of the difference between a top line, like a headline brand and a sub brand, and give an example so they understand how people break those up?
Yeah, let's say the mother, like the magazine is called Stoked, and you want to have an event that's different from what you normally have, where you want to have a new magazine instead of for bikes, you say, you want to get more deep into another street sports, like, stickball. So you have a launch event, or you launch a stickball magazine. I'm just going to call it magazine, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you're like, oh my God, what do I name this thing? You're sitting there. Now, normally it says test here. It would say that it should say Stoked because you signed in. So let me generate some names. Now, remember, this is Brainstormer. So many of these are going to be like terrible, but some of them are going to be like, "Ooh, that's pretty cool." It's getting your brain to go, "Damn, that's good," you know. So instead of
Awesome.
spending hours or thousands of dollars or whatever the hell people spell, it's collecting stuff from my last input. Sorry. Our next round is, well,
No, it's cool to see the beta testing of like a brand new like software like in action. It's very fascinating.
so you'd see now, you can say, okay, cool, I'm going to call it endurance, right? So stoked is my biker thing. Endurance is my stickball thing. You know what I mean? And you see how it's like taking you to a whole other level. It's not just obviously saying stickball. Stoked is a feeling. Endurance is another feeling, you know? So you see how it can announce, it can like trigger your mind to say, oh, I never thought of that as a name, as opposed to like you're sitting there thinking hard, and you're in your own world. It's gone back to something else I did. Okay, let's say you like this. Okay, I don't know why I'm going to say you like this. Now, I'll take this, and you want an identity. Let's make you a logo. I have to start over because this is an old one. Now, this is very, again, rudimentary, right? So
I'm also going to ask you to explain the difference between a word mark and logo mark while we're talking about this.
okay, so
Because like, if for anyone that's not in ComD, they have no idea what the difference
okay,
is.
right. So this is a word mark, the name in a different typeface, and you can have an icon, which is an image of something. And at this stage, I don't even recommend worrying about that. It's too early. Just get something basic out there. Nobody knows your name. Use your name and go out there with your name. Okay. But I do recommend you get that thing, the favicon, what is it called? A monogram. Sorry. So the three elements of your logo. You could have your word mark, your monogram, or you could have an icon. I'm not giving you icons over here because I'm waiting for that to be done. But let's say we like this one, okay? And why you need an icon? It's super important. I'm sorry. I just lost I'm losing my words here. What did I say? So word mark, an icon, and a monogram. You need your monogram for your social media, right? Or for your website's responsive site. On the phone, you can't have your big logo there. You have to have just the round thing with your B in it. So that's okay. So then now, remember, we've just done your strategy up here, right? So it's collected your brand DNA. Automatically, it's done your characteristics. The AI has sensed the colors you will likely like and created it for you automatically. You see what I mean? How AI is really making a difference. And let's say whoever is the magazine guy, sorry to call you that, I don't know your name. I can't even see the screen. What?
It's thin, just to help.
Which one would you like? Like any of these colors? Just pick one.
Gotta go with the yellow and red.
Cool. So you click that, and it's gonna create your assets, like your logo in black and white on black, your monogram, and your favicon, and your color system that you can download and use instantly. See, it's got all these things you can download: primary color, secondary color.
Well, you also talk a little bit, just so we aren't skipping so far beyond like the basics of like why you need a logo in black on white on black on black on white and in color for the different purposes.
Yeah. So sometimes, you're white on black when you have a light background. I'm sorry, when you have a dark background and your black logo, you can't see it. It's that simple. So you get something on white. And sometimes you want to put your logo on a picture. So this thing here is when you download it, it's a transparent background. So it's an SVG file, I think, or a PNG, I'm not sure which one, that you can just upload to a picture, put onto a picture, and you can see the background through your logo. You see, so you need these assets. They're really useful. And we're giving them to you already done, rather than you're going to have something and be fiddling around for hours. And then we give you this thing for your social media, and we give you this favicon, which is your thing over here.
Yeah.
You guys may know all this. I'm just telling you, that thing that I'm showing you. Okay. So you can download it, or you can start over. You see, if you download it, you get all that stuff on your desktop. Our next iteration, you're not going to download it. It's going to go into your library. So from your library, you can start using all these assets, because the next version is going to be pretty damn cool. Then you can build your website next. And we've got a little thing called search readiness. Now, this is important for you guys. You may know it. I'm just going to tell you, even if you know it. As a new business guy, man, like I'm like, God damn, I got to get customers. I'm trying to sell my, my headphones online, and I don't have any customers, and I need to do digital, advertising, and people need to, search for me. I need to pop up as number one. I'm like, good luck with that. You're going to be competing with, Bose, as opposed to the headphones you just made. You're going to be competing with Hachette for your magazines when you type in something. You know what I mean? These massive people are buying millions of dollars worth of search. What I would say to you is get your name out there so they know your name, and one of your friends wants to look for Stoked, make sure that they get Stoked magazine, and make sure your website has the elements of SEO that they find. Because sometimes people are looking for you, they
And
still
you,
can't
Bruce,
find
I'm
you.
going to stop you again, Ray.
Yeah.
Can you define SEO for us?
I got it. Okay, I'll do that. So when you're building your website, right? Okay, give me your, damn it. Sorry, I copied and pasted. I'm trying to be fast here. So where was I? Okay. So assume you've done your homepage. Okay, you've designed it. Then you want to go to search, meaning make sure you've got elements of your website that Google can find when someone types in Stoked magazine. Because they don't find it, even if they know you, they'll type in Stoked magazine and they won't find you. They'll find Stoked God knows what, or magazines God knows what, right? But
Yeah.
if you do these things, relatively simple things, they will find you. So let's say, I'm doing your About Us page. Let's say you've done your About Us page, and you want that thing to be showing up on Google number 3, number 4, number 10, or whatever. There are certain things you got to do. I'll show you. Now, remember, this is may not work because I had something else typed in there, as you saw. But really, it's going to, it's still doing agentic, my previous thing I was showing. But it'll show you what you have to, it's generating these elements for you to copy paste and take these things, your page title and your meta description, and then go to wherever you've done your website, Shopify, Wix, HubSpot, whatever, Weebly, Squarespace, all these things, and take these elements and paste them into where they tell you to paste them so people can find you. Now, sorry, it's saying agentic. It should say Stoked and some other stuff, but I got a previous database in here. So
That's
I have a
fine.
question. As part of the SEO optimization, the search engine optimization that you guys provide under the branding with this new business, does it also give you keywords you can buy?
Not at this stage. No. That's our
And
next.
just to clarify for everybody, SEO means search engine optimization, and it's how you come onto Google's, it's how you build your website or whatever you want to build to be number 1 on the Google page. And people rarely go to page number 2. So you kind of have to be on page number 1 for whatever you're doing. And you can buy keywords that allow you to move further up in the search if you want to be found.
Yeah, and then you have to embed those keywords in your page. So
yeah, throughout your page. So
Right.
It makes it be found easier.
correct. And it has to be done in a smooth way. Like, let's say, one of your keywords is BMX and you buy it and you use BMX 1,000 times. It doesn't work like that. That's ridiculous. No one really, you know what I mean? You have to make it flow appropriately, and Google senses if you're doing it appropriate or not. So our thing will help you write it appropriately. That's the key. So you're getting your SEO embedded already in your copywriting. And we're giving you these little search elements here and there, like your page title and your meta description that you have to type into the place that you've got your website being made. Now, in our future iterations, we want to partner with these people. So you just click and it automatically goes there and populates it. That's future, and that's millions of dollars later. And I don't have even 10 bucks. So anyway, then once you've done your website, you want to do advertising, right? So you want to do taglines and headlines and copy and Instagram and LinkedIn and Google ads and all these things, emails and all. We're going to have all this here under content. Then we're going to have a calendar, and we're going to have, what we're calling productivity tools. So it's going to be a rounded thing. Now, this is just the testing of the AI. So let's say you want a tagline. Okay, let's see what it does. All right, let's see. It's nice. Not even. It's working even though I'm misspelling things. Great. I like AI. Okay. So any of these interest you?
Let's see the top one. Yeah.
I mean, pretty good for like 30 seconds, right? Like, how hard
Let's
is it to
see.
do a damn tagline? You could take weeks doing it. And if you don't like that, let's give you another one. You know what I mean?
I think what's great about this, Ray, is we're talking about is it gives something to respond to, right? So like now you have something that you can either say, yes, I like this, no, I don't. And then that provides a context for what don't you like or what do you like?
Yes. Yes. So here's the difference between like you go to what do you call it? Jasper, any of these other guys. What we've baked in here that you don't even know and you don't care about, why would you? We've given you something very serious, practical. We've given you something a little more fun or more like you feel it. Yeah, man, it's raw. Or we've given you something goofy to have fun, you know? You see how we trained it to give you variation. And that's
So I was actually going to ask that. So, part of their homework assignment this session
Yeah.
is they have to fill out one of those sort of traditional brand questionnaires that, branding studios use where you talk about, what the name is, what the story is, what the service is, and then like, what are the personalities you want to convey?
right.
What are your demographics? So like everything that you're asking
Yeah.
that you're having AI do,
Yeah.
I was going to be giving them a form that, I've used for clients and was given to me by a friend who ran a branding agency that said,
Yeah.
this is what I give my clients. Are you branding a person or a company or a product?
Yeah.
So, now I'm seeing this and I'm like, oh, this is brilliant. But my question was, so like, I guess when you write your description, you have to be sort of clear, like, if I'm selling bubble gum and I'm like, I want to be a fun bubble gum brand versus if I was selling a bubble gum that's like, this bubble gum helps oxygenate my bloodstream and it's more of a health brand. So like, we're talking about the different levels of, is my brand more serious and like, clinical, or is it more like fun and playful and like bubble yum,
Yeah, so that's the beauty of this damn thing. At this point, we've given you this thing called characteristics, which we can sense when you're typing in stuff, what characteristic your company will be. So it's already helping you. But if you don't like it, you can come in here and say, I don't like that, man. I'm amiable. And you can change it. And it'll change your outputs later. So your tagline will change. You see what I'm getting at? Now,
Yep.
I'm showing you seriously rudimentary stuff. I'm like, for me as a branding guy, I'm embarrassed because I'm just showing you basic characteristics. The next level is going to have such depth that you're going to have way more individualization for your brand, that you don't even have to worry about the depth that you are going to have to worry about with the form you're giving them, Peter?
So yeah, so before we turn over to students to ask questions, we already have a question.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask two things. I wanted
Yeah.
to lead you to sharing two things.
Yeah.
So one, do you think there's still room for filling out one of those sort of standard brand sheets and then coming into this program? Or do you think
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, very much so. I was going to say that, like, stick to your process, use this as a playful thing to help you with that. You see what I'm getting at? We're not there yet. I'm not there.
I'm going to hand them their brand questionnaire. They're going to
Yeah.
fill it out, and then they're going to come in here and they're going to plug it all in and see what pops out.
Oh, no, the other way around. I would say, come in here, play around, and then fill it up.
And then fill it out. Okay.
Yeah, it's like if you guys are filling it up on your own, it'll take you hours, man. You come in here, you'll be able to fill that thing up in like, oh, you do it. You tell me. I would
Okay.
say to do what Peter's asking you to do in the form, it would take, if you do it right, it'll take you 3 days. You know what I mean? It'll take you a week to do it right. It's hard. Your brain has to work hard to go, why am I doing this? What am I doing? What makes me different? You come in here and you fiddle, you'll do it in a couple of hours, even 15 minutes. So I'm like,
So I'll give them the form. I'll say,
Give them
this is
the
what I
form.
want you to fill out. And I'll say, go use
Yeah.
Ray's
Yep.
Ray's system. Try to answer these questions on the form using Ray's system.
Yep.
Okay.
And again, remember, like, this is prototype. Like, if I was in March, I would just say, guys, go in here and it's going to work for you. Right now, I'm like, it's the airplane that flies 20 feet. Okay. So you're using it as like a helper, not a tool. So just understand this is the prototype. but it will help you if you play
This
around.
brings me to my next question, and this is less about the product and more about where you are in the entrepreneurial process of it.
Yeah.
So before we turn it over to all the students who have a lot of questions already popping up, we have 2 hands up, we have some questions in chat. And I'll let Carl mediate that. I have one more question.
Yeah.
Where are you in your journey, raising money, growing the business? Can you talk a little bit about
Yeah.
what's behind the scenes in
Yeah.
building this over these last couple of years?
Yes, I'm going to be super fast. So I'm just going to show you one more thing. This is the world's first Instagram generator, guys. I'm not even kidding. So I typed in your magazine's thing, right? And I generated text. So here's your headline that you can go to Instagram and use it. It's giving you some hashtags. And now let's say BMX bike, right? I'm trying to be super fast. It's going to generate using AI a picture for you. Let's say we want an illustration that's abstract and bold. I hope the damn thing works. Sometimes it doesn't because we got issue. Yeah, it's a prototype. Well, it looks like it's generating it. Please do. It's slow. I'll very quickly take Peter, to answer you. I'm going to take you lightning through my deck, so it'll help. You see, so it's got something for you. So you can download this, and you got your Instagram post, man. And these are images you own. Nobody's going to sue you because it's an original one-of-a-kind image. Okay, I'm going to go away from this. I'm going to go back to the prototype. Can you see me? My page?
You're no longer sharing your screen. We're just back in the group chat.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Let me. And call this. I'm sorry, Peter. This is going to answer your question. Okay. Like, where am I in the process? So here's the prototype. You see it? Can you see my page?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So you see the prototype. This is the large vision. This is the future. It's going to have, you collect the data. That's your DNA. You're going to do your content. It's going to help you publish it. You're going to click. It's going to go to Instagram. It's going to give you analysis back from Instagram on who clicked, who liked, and who did what. You're going to optimize automatically using AI, and you're going to go back in the circle, and we're going to keep learning from you and helping you get more and more individualized and connected to your audience. And you're going to be able to collaborate. We're going to give you a collaborative tool. So you have 3-4 people working in your company or friends or whatever. You can actually collaborate with them in real time. Okay, that's the future. I'm not going to waste your time, but here's the competitive set. I can take you through. This is our market. It's actually way more than this, but I have to be very specific. It's a 6.48 per year $1 billion market. Here are the type of users. You are the one on the left, I believe. You have an idea. Marketing and branding is a bloody headache. You barely know much about it, I think. And you need pitch decks. You need pitch deck after pitch deck, right? And a pitch deck is not just to make money. A pitch deck is to convince someone of an idea. So we're going to do that for you guys. The middle one is going to be for a 3-person business that, they've done stuff already, but they need to improve. And that one on the right is going to be our future, where it's the enterprise level. Okay. Here's our go-to-market process. Like, it's very clear, man. I got no time, so I'm not going to take you through it, but it's related to these audiences. This is how we're going to go to market. This is what we need the money for. And our goal is by 2025 December to have 30,000 users. Incredibly ambitious, but we're going to do it. We want to do it. One secret sauce here that we can sell to make a ton of money is to sell our brand DNA to any one of these things. So that's an exit plan right here. So if somebody wants to invest, they'll be like, how am I going to make real money? I'll be like, look at this slide. If American Express says, we want to buy you or partner with you or license you, man, we're in such good shape. This is the capital we're seeking. Our first level is 700K. We need actually 1.5, but at this point, we're just going to take 700K for this milestone of 600 recurring users. These are the milestones, and that's it. So, okay, you guys have questions? And
what's the minimum investment?
I'm sorry?
What's the minimum investment?
Right now, 700,000.
No, but I'm saying, are you trying to raise it all from one person?
No.
Or like, what's the minimum? What's what the check size you're taking?
You're gonna be like 50,000 is going to be
50,000 is the minimum, and so you're hoping to raise a lead and then a few smaller investors.
Correct, and it's in between friends and family and angels. That's how we're thinking of doing it. Crowdfunding is like another bloody headache. So.
No, don't do that. Let's talk outside of this. I have some people I think that would love this, but okay.
I need people who would love this.
Over the class.
Okay, yeah. There's a lot in chat. Sorry, I wasn't reading, but I will read. Oh, ask questions. Go ahead. Anyone? Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
you want to lead?
Yeah, I can go. My question was just that, like, as a designer, are you worried that you're going to be displacing other small designers?
Yes and no. Here's the answer to that. They're already displaced, meaning when I was a designer, like I've been a designer, that's me. A wonderful designer, better than me. She said to me, Ray, do something else. She goes, I'm going to be replaced because you can pay a designer and in Azerbaijan $5 and you're going to get a better design than you'll ever do. And I go, you're absolutely right. Her name was Allison. So I've already been replaced. Then it gets even worse. These AIs, you're going to push a button and you're going to get a nice design. So what I say to you is, learn these AIs so you become the better designer with these things. You don't need to sit there and do your Photoshop now. You go then you play with them, and your way of thinking will give you better design than sitting there doing it. It's the difference between using a computer and using bricks. You know what I mean? It's just speeding up the process, giving you better options. So your brain is going to go to your computer faster than your brain going to your hand to the computer. So I would say use this as just a tool. It's a tool. Don't worry about being replaced. This is a tool that will help you replace your old self. That's what I say. Someone else?
Yeah.
So we had a question in the chat. Whoever wrote the chat, could you read that to Ray? And then Oz has a question after
Addison?
that.
My question was, what is your preferred method of research and testing when creating a brand identity? And what is the best way to do A/B testing when we have alternatives that we want to try out?
It's a very big question. So
I know, very
no,
a
it's
lot.
okay. It's okay. But I'll tell you, it's less of a specific answer and a tool than an attitude. Like my attitude is I'll take it from wherever it comes. So what are the big broad ones? Desk research. I sit on my computer and I do it. The other research, I'll sit with someone else and I'll just grill them. I ask them questions. I just ask them questions. Another thing is I just observe people working with my product. You know what I mean? It's just, you do anything you can. You remember the word I used, hustle? You're hustling. You're just like, okay, here's what it is. Before I embarked on my investment path, I knew nothing, like nothing. I've never asked for investment in my life. And I'm like, oh God, like, where do I begin? You just have to begin. So I call up a friend, I talk to someone and he says, go meet someone. And then I learn and I do a new deck. And that person says, this is ridiculous. You need to show all your numbers. So I have to learn how to do numbers or hire someone. So it's the chain of events. It's the intensity. It's the learning and the ability to be flexible instantly. Like you got to go, oh, I heard that. You don't have to dance to someone else's tune. You can hear it all, but make the changes that you feel like are appropriate. You know what I mean? You have to be tough, like really tough. No one's telling you what to do. They're giving you advice and you're making your own decisions. And that's the research. They could be telling you things. You could be getting them off the internet. You could be getting them from a great advisor. You could be getting them from your customer. It's everything and everywhere. And I'm sorry, I'm giving you no easy answer, but it's the obsession. It's the obsession that's the best research, the approach.
And then the next question was, the next follow-up part, that was the A/B testing.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about just first of all, not everyone's going to know what A/B testing is here, but defining what A/B testing is, and then like maybe how you see it moving in the future given AI.
So this is not my strength because one of my partners is the more rational thinker. You know, I'm more like the design type. But basically, I know what it is essentially you put two things out there and see which one works. So there are two kinds of things you can put out in communication. One is a practical thing and one is an emotional thing. For instance, if I'm selling you this thing, I'll tell you it costs $50 and I'm giving you a discount because it normally costs $60. You see, that's a very intellectual approach. The other thing could be like, this thing was used by Steve Jobs, so therefore you should buy it. You see the difference? One's an emotional approach, A, and B is a very practical approach. So you're trying two different methods to see what people click on or what people buy. And it works in communication or as a product framing, you know? I hope that answered your question. And AI will help you by giving you these options real quick. And what I'm trying to bake into this thing, probably in 24, 23, is the ability to push a button and have your two AI, your A and B just pop up, man. And then you can push a button and it goes out into Facebook and you get your test results instantly. So it comes analyzed back into this B blocks and it tells you, hey, your emotional one, number B is working better than A. Use more of that. Hope that answered it. Any more questions?
Yeah, I had one.
Yeah.
As someone who's very interested in the brand and brand strategy space, I was really all ears. I love the software. So they're the big names in the industry, right? That have been doing this for many years. And, you know, I've heard things that they're not what they used to be, et cetera. That could be industry chat, but, you know, there's them. And then there's the smaller niche agencies that do this that could maybe be more affordable. And now, what did you see happening in the industry that led you to think, okay, AI can step in here and people would prefer, you know, this to you know, just
That's a
team?
fantastic question, man.
Yeah.
Actually, thanks for asking it, because really that is the answer to why this thing is not going to give you the most high quality design you will get in your life. It's not. If you go to Pentagram, they will give you the design. You'll be king. You know what I mean? Like,
And I'm gonna pause you. Everyone knows, if you don't know what Pentagram is the highest level branding design agency possibly in the world, right? Arguably.
yeah, arguably there are, you know, lots of them like that. I'm just giving you like one
Yeah,
of the
yeah. I mean,
legends.
it's the Citibank umbrella, things like that.
It's a legendary one, and it's appropriately legendary because they've done great work. You know what I mean? I respect them. They're not just fake legendary. Do you know what I mean? They're good. They're solid. Okay, they're right around you in New York. They're in Manhattan. They're all over the world, but they started in Manhattan. Anyway, so you'll pay them hundreds of thousands to get your brand. Okay, great. But you're not Citibank. I'm not Citibank. I'm like, I got 10 minutes. I can't even pay a designer $100. So I want something real quick just to get my company out there. And you know what it takes? Consistency. A logo with the name. That's all I want. So people can read the name. It looks different because it's got some little funky type on it. It's got a unique color. It's got a little icon. So it's good enough. Meaning what this thing is doing, it's, you know, I hate the word, but honestly, it's the truth. It's democratizing branding. Like, instead of having a great amount of money to go to Pentagram, use this thing and it's going to be good enough, because the holistic thing is going to be a brand, not just the logo. Whereas with Pentagram, you'll get a great thing, a great design system, but they're not going to do it for you every day. You can't do that with them every day. Then you'll have to go to an ad agency, you know what I mean? Whereas with this thing, you get a middle ground logo, and you'll get a middle ground Instagram thing, and you'll get a middle ground, but the whole thing will be a consistent, beautiful brand that will last a long time. So it's the difference between Photoshop and Instagram. Like Photoshop, you can get the most beautiful design you've ever wanted in your life because you're a talented guy and you have to pay a designer to do that. Instagram, you post buttons and you do it yourself. So this is the equivalent of Instagram.
Who else has
Thank you.
questions about branding, brand guides, anything we're talking about here?
Just so you know, in our March iteration of this thing, you're going to be able to type in your thing and it'll pop out a brand guide for you.
So that is essentially the homework for them is going to
I have a
be,
question as well.
go ahead, please.
More about like naming companies. Like, would you ever see somewhere in the future there being a way to like help come up with a name even for a brand?
Yeah, I showed you the name generator. That's literally what the answer to your question. When I showed you the demo, there was something called a name brainstormer.
Oh, was that in the beginning?
Yeah, so the whole point is you first do your DNA. Then if you don't have a name, you can sit and play around with your names over there. All you want, you sit and just keep clicking until you go, oh, I love that name, and you got your name. So it's pretty simple.
Well, thank you.
Sure.
So, yeah, what I was going to say is, so their next homework is going to be, you know, sort of the Simon Sinek start with why, define their why and their mission, and then go use that to, you know, build the bricks of their brand temple, and then go use that to generate the basic visual assets, taglines, short copy that defines their brand.
Great. Play with this thing. It's clunky. You're gonna be pissed off at it. Okay, you're going to be, but it's gonna help you. I'll guarantee, instead of spending 3 hours, you'll spend 1/3 of the time. Instead of spending 3 days, you'll spend 1 day. Okay, so use it, play with it. The next iteration, if it pisses you off, I'll be annoyed at myself. Right now, I'm just like, it's meant to piss you off. It's a prototype, you know, big difference between a prototype and a product. So I put it in the chat over there. You can play with it all you want.
And I'm gonna put in your homework as well.
I just had one question. Do you think that it's very hard for a brand to transition from its initial mission statement if you change along the way?
Yeah, it could be. Whereas look at Amazon, right? Their mission statement is I'm going to sell books. Make it very easy for you and cheap to get books fast. But then they went easy and cheap to get, I don't know what they did next, but now they're doing it's easy and cheap to get everything. You know what I mean? So yeah, and it's hard to do that, like going from books to something else. It is hard, yeah. And that is their mission change. Their purpose stayed the same, to make it easy and fast. Their vision was a world that people could sit on their computers and get things easy and fast. That's their vision. You see the difference between the purpose now and the vision? And their mission was like, I'm going to get you books fast. Then their mission had to change to I'm going to get you books and binoculars fast. Then it was books, binoculars, and food fast. Now it's everything fast, right? Like, so, and it's hard to do that because everything you're starting is a different business. Essentially, it has a different what do you call it? Like what are those things called? Chain. What is it called? The supply chains. Like getting a book is a whole other business than getting food. A complete other business. So yeah, it's extremely hard to change your mission. Yeah. That's why you need to be very buttoned up at this stage, because you have to keep changing your mission and your purpose, your why, your Simon Sinek's why stays the same. Never change that. That's fundamental to why you were born, right? That's why you can't change that. I would say keep the why constant. The vision you may fiddle with every 5-10 years. Your mission you can fiddle with every 1 year, 2 3 years. Your identity, I don't care how much you fiddle with it, as long as you stay consistent over time.
Does anyone else have questions? Ray, what resources do you suggest for young entrepreneurs and designers that want to learn more about marketing and branding, more from the theoretical side, or the Simon Sinek's of the world, Purple Cow, what's his name? Why am I blanking on his name?
I have it written. Seth Godin.
Seth Godin. What resources do you think they should be looking at and considering and following?
Oh my God, it's so hard to give you one. There's
it can be, I've actually, the big ones that's been coming up in my other classes has been, people have been going, here's the best 5 followers on Twitter.
Oh, right. See, I'm different in my approach. I'm like a very, you remember what I told you about research? I have no, God. I look at everything. So it can come from anything, man. I'm ridiculous. Like, I can take it from Wikipedia. I can take it from some tiny kid on YouTube. I can take it from a great guy from NYU. I forget his name. I can take it from Seth Godin. I have a very hard time with one thing. For me, what works for me is I sense quality, but I get quantity. So I'll go to HBR and I'll get something, I'll go to The Economist and I'll get something. I'll go to Forbes. I'll go to Twitter. I'll go to anywhere. For me, it's the medium. YouTube is wonderful, man. I'm like, you can be working out and watching some young guy who's chosen to be a branding expert. And you know what? Some of them make serious sense. So for me, it's volume rather than quality, because what I do is I absorb all the volume and then I make it my own, and then I apply my own practice. You know what I mean? I don't do any one thing that somebody says, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always just trying to drill down the experts into sharing, where they find their inspiration. Everyone finds it, in their own places.
Yeah. My way used to be, you remember that guy's picture I showed you? There's a reason I showed you that one picture. His name is Andy Spade. He used to be married to Kate Spade, Kate Spade, the brand. And he was making branding at the time. So for me, I would seek out humans to talk to rather than read their books. And you got to go find them. Some of them are really open. They like people to talk to. Go ask questions. Out of 100, one's going to respond, and go have coffee And you're gonna get the best because you're gonna ask them stuff. Just ask them. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. Like if you like Simon Sinek, who knows, man? You never know, right? You just never know. Someone may go, I'll talk to that person. Why not? I'm in New York.
Just
for 10
keep your
minutes.
cell phone away from him, and then things will be fine.
You know, you never know, right? Like I've reached out to some incredible people. I'm like, oh my God, they're talking to me, you know? There's a friend I have, you met him, I think, Carl, Daniel Lewin.
Mhm.
Used to be friends with Steve Jobs. He's now friends with Bill Gates. He's like big shot guy, man. So yeah, I mean, they'll talk. If some of them will talk, but that was my method. But I'm saying, yeah, there are lots of people that you can read and watch their YouTube. Like I like Shamat, that guy. Like he teaches stuff that relates directly to branding, I think. I forget his name. The guy you like, Carl. Palatipai, I think.
Sri Lankan.
Yeah, or I like Lex Friedman. You know, I get ideas from like weird places. Like YC Combinator has their videos. I watch that.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah. Like YouTube. You don't even need books in my mind. I just go to YouTube, I get a little thing here and there, you know. Type in branding, see what you get. Type in marketing, type in AI marketing, you know.
And I also just wanted to also bring up, this is more for just like context for what you're working on. I had a student develop a card game this semester in one of my classes, and they did all the visual artwork for the card game in OpenAI.
Nice.
And it's beautiful. I mean, it is just, because I was like, this artwork better be fantastic. No one's going to buy a card game without good artwork. And he brought it in. I go, who did this? He goes, OpenAI. And I go, you own it? He goes, yep. And I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah. You know, man, I'm telling you, you're in a great place. Like you guys, I'll tell you why. It's horrible to say this because it sounds stupid, but if I was your age in college, man, I would take these things and I would just be like a pig in shit. Meaning, when OpenAI's DALL-E first came out, I was obsessed. Now I'm like, whatever, it works, right? Like I was one of the first people, like one of the first 100 people to get access. But you know, you got to be on the game, right? I'm sitting there in a pool, my son swimming, and I'm poking the thing, and I'm like, holy crap! Like if I'm a designer now, and I feel like, you know what, I think I'd be a really good jewelry designer. You know what I did? I started typing in things like black, chunky, Danish modern jewelry on a model that appropriately shows the jewelry off. I'm telling you, that was my prompt. And I clicked and I was like, oh my God. I got pictures that looked like it was shot by some amazing photographer of this jewelry that I'd be like, I would buy that for my wife. That good.
Yeah.
So if I'm a designer.
Ashram, the artist and designer, he's been using OpenAI prompts to create visuals that he's now painting.
Yeah. And
You
listen,
know,
as an architect, you can type in stuff and get amazing inspiration, man. Like, and if a client says, look, I want, you know, a house that looks like a Zaha Hadid, but I want to, you know, be a little more linear, you type that in and you say, you mean like this?
Yeah. There's
That's
one
what
more
you can-
question and then we'll
Yeah.
let you go.
Yeah, sure.
It's in the chat.
Oh. Key things to keep in mind when marketing to a niche market. Yeah, I would say speak to them in the language in their language, not yours. My business partner was telling me about, I don't know what it was, some brand that did the research and found that it appeals to women. And he said, Ray, if you look at their Instagram and their thing, it's all like all their community, it's all like dick jokes. And he's like, why are they doing that? You have to speak to your audience in their language. Just don't be yourself, be them, be your audience. You know what I mean? You have to be them. Like, when you're talking to a baby, it's a very different language than when you're talking to, you know, a professor, right? So in that manner, sorry, Peter, they talk to you like you're a baby. Maybe
It's a
they should talk to you like you're a baby. Go change your diaper, Peter. What are you doing? But you get my point. Whatever it is, like, empathize with your audience, emotionally connect with them, you know. That's what you want, a loved brand. That's why I wrote up front, build the brand that people love, not build the brand that people like know, but love. They have to feel it. And how do you do that? You ask questions in a relationship, you know? Your brand has to have a relationship with its customers. It's not you, it's your brand. Like, you know, like, you know, if you're selling something sensitive to them, then empathize. Like, don't, you know, I don't know what it is, but I can't give you an example, but just understand what their problems are and solve it for them without pushing things on them, you know? It's just empathy and language. And then of course, design, like make, you don't you don't want your thing to look like a BMX bike when you're selling, you know, little sensitive jewelry made by a mom. You know, there's a competitive attitude to a BMX bike. But when you're selling jewelry made by moms, it's very soft, it's spiritual, you know, see the difference? So just your voice has to be their voice.
I think that's, I don't have any other questions. I think you've covered a lot and obviously given us an amazing resource that they get to play with ahead of everyone else and test and break and struggle with, but also probably, you know, help them frame their brands and positions much better than just doing it, you know, off the cuff with just a piece of paper in front of them.
Great, awesome. Please use it, make it work for you. This lady in a car told me the other time, in a car, ridiculous lady in a car. I was picking up my kid and one of the moms was in a car and she said, oh, Ray, you know, she uses a wheelchair and she's doing this wheels and heels, like a dancing, teaching people in wheelchairs how to dance. And my God, she couldn't write. And I'm like, Jesus, Martha, what are you doing? So she's, can you help me? And I'm like, I don't have the time to help you, use my machine. And she did for her pitch decks. And she's in the car just now telling me, oh, Ray, you know, that thing works. I keep going back to it and I get writing there and I fill up in my pitch decks and it's great. She's, you know, and I'm like, thank you. Will you give me a, what do you call it? A quote? And she said, yeah. So use it. Cool.
Love it. Well, we will. And Ray, thank you so much. And if we want to like just reach out, like say thank you or whatever, is there a best email that we could reach you at?
Sure. It's ray@bblocks.ai.
Okay. So we'll definitely include that. Yeah, thank you. Oh, there it is. Thank you so much for like your time and all this incredible stuff. And also for letting us use this program that you're developing before, right before us. So
Great.
Very excited.
Peter, if you know any investors who love this, ray@bblocks.ai.
I'm going to shoot you an email. We should just catch up anyways, but I think there's some people I'd like to introduce you to. I mean, it looks very promising.
I'd love to catch up, man, because I've given you the brief version of what this thing is. I'm really bloody excited by it. I'm like, you know, anyway, we let's catch up. Let's catch up.
I'm also seeing just the explosion of this, and like I think this is way bigger than the metaverse. I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's in mind. This is going to populate the metaverse, by the way. This is the step between where we are now to the metaverse. You're going to start creating entities with things like this. Anyway, I can go on for hours, man. Okay, I gotta go. Thank you guys. I'll talk to you later.
Hey, thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
JG, take care.
Thank you.
All right, that was a lot to absorb. And like I'm a little overwhelmed because that also like I sort of respect the question of, do you think you're gonna put people out of business? I was like, you can't put designers and artists out of business. We're creatives. Like you can't replace that. But I think he makes a very good point of like, you know, it's how we think that empowers us, not necessarily the ability to use a table saw or to use Photoshop. It's the way we think. It's design thinking, it's artistic thinking. You know, Jeff Koons doesn't build a single thing that he comes up with. So remember that whenever you're seeing these tools and fearing that, you know, if you thought your job was going to be just working in Photoshop all day, that probably means you're not being creative. It probably just means you're executing a tool for someone else. So Ray built the tool that works for you so you can execute your ideas. I think it's a good way to put it. Carl, do we want to take a break before we jump into everyone?
Yeah, I definitely need a bio break and also some breaks for my brain to process all of that information download. So that would be great.
Yeah, let's take a break. And then when we come back, I'd like you guys to present your homework, what you discovered. What you guys did last assignment is going to be ongoing. You should always be interviewing and talking to consumers. But I like to, you know, I think we gave you a couple quick deliverables that we asked you to present, so everyone can present. And then we'll talk a little bit about what your homework's going to be over the the winter break period. Okay. Carl, what do you think? 10 minutes?
Yeah, so what's that? 6:25 on the dot. We'll see you all then.
I'm pretty blown away by that software.
Yeah.
I wrote
Yeah,
Ray
it's-
immediately. I was like, I was
I
like, you just
love
made my
it.
life so much easier. And once
Well,
it starts spitting decks out, holy God, like the amount of time I spend building pitch decks.
Oh, tell me about it. Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. Well, that's the thing that I love the question about, are you afraid about being replaced, and how it's like, like it's just the adaptive thinking, right? Because I think that is a great question and legitimate one. And then the answer like just helps reframe it. It's just like learning new tools. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of those things when 3D printing was first like the thing, everyone's like, can you teach me to 3D print? And I was like, I have to teach you so many other things. I'm like, 3D printing isn't like a thing, like it's a tool, like a bandsaw or a sewing machine. I have to teach you all these other things for you to be able to 3D print something that has any value to you. So like, it's like all these steps, and like that's exactly, you're just taking a lot of steps and automating it into a way to help you reframe quicker your ideas,
Yeah.
And the idea that like we can't all afford Pentagram, we definitely can't all afford Pentagram.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was super interesting. So I hope you all enjoyed that. Can we get some thumbs up to see that everyone's back?
Yeah, hello.
Great. And then the digital ones or face ones. Yeah, there you go. Hey guys. So yeah, so your assignment was, and this is one of my favorite assignments, is going and talking to real people.
Yeah.
One of my friends who's been doing this kind of stuff for a long time always jokes that for one of my classes, I should just take you guys to Union Square and give you a product and take your phone and your money, and you can't come back until you've sold the product to someone. I don't think that would go fly anymore, but anyway, so I asked you guys to create a slide with a couple slides that just define 3 basic things, and that was, who is your customer? And I just want a brief description. I mean, I know you guys probably wrote some very good customer profiles, but what I've learned is I don't need to hear each and every one in depth. I just need to know sort of like when you started envisioning who your customer is, what is the basic overall person that you envision that you want to target as your MVP customer? And then I really want to know like how you found these customers. Like, a lot of people like to do Instagram interviews or polls and Google polls. I hope you went and actually spoke to some people, because I think that gives a lot better insight. But I want to know how you found these people to do your interviews. And then I don't need to know, like, then I asked them about this and their dog and their mom, but I want to know like what you learned from that. And then I want to know how much that changed your idea, because from my experience, this assignment is the assignment where you see almost the greatest change in ideas when you actually start getting feedback from who you think are your customers.
So Peter, I love it. Do you mind just putting like 1, 2, 3 of like the main things you want them to hit from what you said in the chat? And then
who your customer is, how you ran your interviews, and a brief description of what you learned and what changed.
Okay. So Oz, do you mind writing that in the chat?
It's in there. I put it in there.
Oh, you did? Oh, thank you, Peter. And then people, you're starting to see it, but put your names in so we can go in that order. And then Peter, what do you think is a good time frame for people to be able to articulate
About 2
that?
minutes. I mean, I'm assuming 30 seconds a slide.
So about 2 minutes? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can do it under that. 90 seconds is really, but if your
That's our
idea
cutoff.
completely changed, we may need a little longer. So
And then Oz,
Finn,
we're gonna go to you to try and keep us honest, because we don't have a lot of time left. So.
I'm setting up 2 minutes, and try to be aware of the notification sound. But if we'll do that for you. But
Thank you.
all right, Finn, floor is yours.
Right on. Hello, everybody. Let me share my screen. Oh, it says host is disabled, participant screen sharing.
Oh, wait. Okay, what do I do again to make everybody?
You go. Oh, hold on, I think I can do it. You got it. You're good.
Okay, thank you, Peter.
All right, let's share this. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So this is what I learned from my customer information. So first off, I'm going to quickly go through my customer profiles. I developed 3 different types. First one is just the standard one singular person. You can kind of see that like the demographics of this average customer: Caucasian, born in upstate New York, lower middle class, high school and some college, and in the income bracket of 25 to 35,000 a year. Next group, we have the invested athletes, part-time practitioner, and interest adjacent. Those are the three main groups of customers here. Moving on to the view through the company, some goals, challenges, retention points, and aspect use that would appeal to customers. So with this in mind, I went out and interviewed pretty much some people that I know, a lot of new people that I did not know. And I found these people at parkour gyms, bike shops, skate parks, all that good stuff. Just kind of talked to them, found out what they're interested in. And then the top 5 suggestions that I actually ended up integrating were these 5 right here. And visualized those look like a format change to the magazine. So instead of making one issue about each sport, the next month having a different one, including all of that in one magazine, and gearing it towards a younger audience with a heavy focus on social media. That's my findings.
Cool. So this gives you a good jumping off point to sort of go do your branding and sort your branding out from there, right?
Yes, definitely. And like you said, like I got to continue to keep interviewing people because interest was varied a bit between like a lot of people who already are doing a sport. They kind of wanted to just keep doing their thing. They didn't really care about what else is going on. So one of the guys who I talked to, Andrew, suggested I try to gear it towards like a younger audience, like high school age, to kind of get people involved in sports to like start versus people who are.
Interesting. I will say, so, you know, and this is for everybody, when you go through the branding exercise and the mission and the tagline and even figuring out just the overall look, the overarching sort of like look of what you're doing, and you go re-interview people or go interview new people, you're going to be asking, and it's going to have a different appearance than just like words. You know, it's going to be like, what do you visually think about this? Is it appealing to you? And that's going to give you more to touch on. Carl?
What was the thing was there anything that surprised you or that like threw you off when you were talking to folks?
Yeah, definitely. One of the biggest things was my training partner, Ema. She works at the Brooklyn Zoo at gym, and she said that like she would prefer Instagram posts that showcase like highlights of the magazine versus actually buying a magazine itself. So that's something I have to think about how to like kind of integrate and become profitable on, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually, I'll give you an example. There's a guy called Moshi. He takes news from everywhere, CNN, New York Times, and he integrates it all into Instagram stories. And
Awesome.
It's like essentially how I get my news now. I get it like through NPR and this one guy on Instagram, and I've just kind of stopped reading the news because I'm reading, he's giving me all the top stories I'm looking for.
Yeah, Moshi, you said?
Yeah, I'll send you a direct, or I gotta look it up, but you could use that as an example and try to emulate something like that for your own, you know.
That's
thing.
brilliant. That's a great parallel. That's really interesting. Thank you. Good work.
Yeah, very nice job. All right, next, sorry, I can't pronounce it. I apologize.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay, can you guys see it?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, we're making this verbal backcoder just to remind you guys, because I'm the other guy in this project. So this is our customer profile. Our original target customer were people has lost or hurt one of their arm or hands. For example, people with severe like limb loss, or people has temporarily hurt their arms. But after the several interviews, we have expanded our customer range to just regular people, like just like to go grocery shopping on a daily basis and carry their bags. Here's about the interviews. So we actually go out and find people who lost their arm, and we ask about what their daily basis is like when they are holding a bag while they have to do any other daily activities. Also, here is a website that talks about this person, like how his daily activity is, and is regarding what type of bag he is wearing. And we also did a little activity with several other people. Just pretending to be one-handed and scale from 1 to 3, which is easy to hard about what is the hardness of their activities when they have only one hand to use. And so what do we learn from that? So it is definitely difficult for people that live one-handed to carry bags while doing any other activities. But we also learned that there are still people who need this bag holder to help them to carry bags. So we have altered the POC and MVP a little bit. For example, we have to balance between the feature of bag holder and add on the feature as a wallet or a purse. And we also have to change the structure. For example, the adjustable strap using just one buckle instead of 2. And we also have to change the material, the texture, and we have to make it fit more people. Thank you.
All right, very nice. When you were interviewing people, I know we've talked about this before, how much and I saw it on one of your sites, how much is design and actual, because I saw style as a point, how much does design and style become a major issue for them?
Style issue is not really from them, it's from us actually. And we did present our stuff to several professors, and we had like a really common sense about our style is really not able to be wear like as a regular like casual thing, or even try to make it like stylish. It's not that stylish. Make it normal. It's not really that normal to wear. So we have to still try to push it on this.
Yep, that was my question, Carl.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, did anything change? What was the biggest change that resulted from you like getting out there and talking to people?
The biggest change, actually, it was about the strap. Our original design has 2 buckle, and then we realized that maybe 1 buckle is enough. First of all, it reduced the cost. Also, the reason why we had 2 buckles because we have to think someone might like they have used it from both sides. Like they can either adjust it from the front, or they like if you move it to the other side, you can also adjust it from the front. But then we have realized we can actually change the strap like direction instead of adding 2 buckles, and that's how we got there.
I mean, anytime we can reduce parts and improve our overall bill of materials for cost saving, it's
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a 2 for 1. That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
really
it makes
great.
sense.
Great. Yeah.
all right, very good.
Thanks.
Dock design.
Okay. Okay, so going to the door design studio, the interior design studio, making it on a platform. So my customer profile was basically, its main target is the residential sector, and then having bachelors and different people from the age group of 20 and 30, and who want to get the work done very fast in like today's generation. And the families which are expanding and need like detail-oriented spaces, which are more functional, and even the contractors, architects, and interior designer. So I got to interview 3 people, and then I came up with this one persona. So she was more relatable because she is considering to redo her house. So for her, the difficulty was that she is now doing work from home, and because of pandemic, everything has come very closer for her in the house. So I got to know about her hands-on experience because she's trying to figure out things in like 2-3 months. And that's when I realized that, okay, this is actually right on the track. Since she's taken like 2-3 months just to figure out stuff and the materials and everything needed for her housing. So her main statement was that she needs to organize her space into a more functional and more relevant, but she's very busy to do so. And for her, the frustrations were like material quality and the time she's spending on decision making, and the miscommunication and exaggerated features, whether they'll fit the space rightly or not, and unavailability of samples. But then I ended up doing her empathy map, where I actually was in her place and figured out how things were going. So the main pain and gain points which came were like, the pain points were that she feels that it is she's wasting her time because it is very frustrating when she cannot find an end result, and the effort required to do so is also like too much with like keeping in balance with her personal life. And then the gain point, what I assume, like from
You're at 2
her
minutes,
thing,
Parisha, by the way.
thanks, Urs, but wait, that this should be a very reliable source for her, and she'll get more options for in one go rather than going to different stores and different vendors. That's all.
All right, so you learn from the pain and gain. Okay. I think your customer is spot on. I'm right within that range, and I'm redoing my house right now, and I feel a lot of those pains. Like trying to get things figured out, like what you're gonna do, and like making decisions is a big pain in the butt. So, I guess I guess the next step is sort of how you brand this out and make it feel right for that persona, right?
Sorry?
Like branding out your business, so that this person would be attracted to your business to want to come to you because you're the expert and you know the answer, right?
Right.
Okay. Carl?
How was it for you, like getting feedback on this? Like, what methods? Did you talk to people in person? Did you do like Facebook surveys? Like, what technology or methodologies did you do?
I did it through Zoom call because the person is back in India. So that is my
Okay.
targeted market. But the only feedback what gave me and made me reconsider or rethink was that, so the out of actually all three were sure that they want us to be like 100% sustainable, the materials and the products that we use. So I don't know how much that is viable in construction. It is, but to an
100%
extent.
sustainable. Mm.
So yeah, since the world is like going more towards sustainability, so I know it is possible, but only to a limit. So that's where I need to consider.
Well, I think so. I think that's a great point and consideration. And I think, this comes up often when I talk about entrepreneurship and sustainability as a method of it is, as part of your mission statement and your company's why, you build that sustainability goal in, even if it's not 100%, which is not achievable, you're still working toward being as sustainable as possible.
I always like avoiding absolutes in general, like when I'm coaching people, whether it be on like presentation or what have you. Whenever someone says absolutes, like words like I always or I never, then I encourage them to retool that and be like, I do my best to, or I avoid, because as soon as someone uses these type of hyperbolic language, they lose a little credibility. And so I think my point is, in your case, Parisha, is it's great to say we strive to do as use as much sustainable products as possible. Therefore, there won't be a gotcha moment, and at the same time, you're still like being authentic. Great job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next.
Yes, I think it's us.
Yep.
Mia, take it away.
All right, so just a little reminder about us. We're Dear Creators, and we're trying to create a social media network for creatives, specifically in the production industry. We reached out to our site members from the company that we started earlier this year, where we were hosting photography meetups. And we sent out a survey to them to see how we would be able to better be of assistance to our community. And we found out that the majority of them are living in urban cities, and also the majority of them use she, her pronouns. And the average age is 28 of our people who have already participated in our events previously.
And now that we determined the who, we wanted to look at how that they do what they have to for their careers. And we found out that most of them are freelancers and rely heavily on social media, as they use it a couple times a day. And what was interesting here was that their main marketing strategy is social media. However, they get most of their bookings through community referrals, so it doesn't really pay off.
So it was interesting to find that in the survey, we didn't actually ask if people were using LinkedIn or not. We asked them what kind of features they liked in LinkedIn and general questions. And then there was a write-in answer where the majority of the people who filled out the survey mentioned how they don't use LinkedIn and it doesn't help them as creatives. And then in addition, they expressed their anger with the algorithm and how even the people that they follow that are their friends, they don't even see their posts the majority of the time and have to go back to try to find what they're looking for. And they wish there was a better way to stay in touch with their community.
And finally, after we collected this quantitative data, we wanted to back it with some qualitative data, and we went to the streets of Washington Square Park, and the real people, the customers we found, confirmed this. And based on the interest, we decided that we would be pushing forward our portfolio display features and collab search instead of what we assumed what people would be interested in, gig hunts.
This is great. I think you guys did great work. I don't have a ton of feedback. I mean, I think you really did fine. I mean, I think you have to keep doing it, but yeah, this is good.
Thank you.
Carl, you're on mute.
Yeah, my bad. I got excited. I love that you guys went out to Washington Square Park. And I just want to hear about what was that experience like, especially, you know, like I feel like since COVID, people are more reticent when strangers approach them to engage, or are they happy? Like, what was that like for you, and what was it like for the people?
Yeah, so I went out and I had a couple of people like with me just helping to film, and it was really nice because I felt that people majority of the time were very open to it. Anyone who said no, it was only when they like heard that I wanted to film it as well. And again, I was also kind of like slightly selective with the people that I was approaching, whereas like people who look like they would be kind of our user. So and it definitely fit the bill. And I'm excited, like still kind of going through some of the footage. And if we had more time, I would have loved to show some of that, but that might have to be at a different time.
You can
That's
say
cool that you
during the
guys
pitch.
filmed it. Sorry, Peter.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's really cool that not only did you do it, but you filmed it too, like
Yeah.
almost like a docu-series.
Well, as like an app, the best like way to show success is, you know, if people are downloading our app and using it. So if we were able to some sort of generate some kind of social virality or like attention, that would definitely assist with like getting more users.
Plus
love it.
also with filming it, we wanted to be able to go back into it and analyze further if we have to.
Yeah, like last week when last session they were talking about documentation, and I found that in a lot of my work it's really hard for me to find like good documentation. It's just not my strong suit, and just making the documentation part of the process was why the main reason for filming it.
I love it. And the final thing I want to add to that too, the additional benefit is that sometimes when you're like live and you're like having a back and forth, you might miss something, but if you record it and you rewatch it, then you can be like, oh, that person had a good point. I didn't even catch that, you know, so that's awesome.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
I'm fascinated with the LinkedIn that no one uses, that creators are just like, we don't use
Yeah, we
LinkedIn.
were shocked because we didn't even assume that was actually what the answer we would get. We would
I've
just
gotten very little
what
work off
people
of
would
LinkedIn.
say
And
that
I've
they're
got a lot of work
frustrated
off
with
of
it.
things. So yeah, makes sense. All right, next.
Hello, let me share my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, looks great.
So basically is Art Honoring is a therapeutic mobile virtual art space for pet owners in palliative care. And who is my customer? Right now, only doing therapeutic art would be pet owners that are looking for ways to connect with their pets, honor their life, process their feelings in a non-judgmental place. And pet owners dealing with the anticipatory grief or grieving the loss of their pets. But if I partnership with a veterinarian, would be pet owners looking for a more holistic palliative care, feeling support in the medical emotional process with their animal companion, validation of their anticipatory grief, and a quicker exposure to therapy spaces. So basically, my customer interviews were 6 current participants in my study, 3 mental health professionals and 2 veterinarians. And the findings were basically most of veterinarians were willing to work with the mental health practitioners, and art therapy at the stage of anticipatory grief can help some pet owners to prepare in the process of the grief. Art therapy helps the majority of the pet owners to connect with their senior pets and enrich their moments together. And creating art to honor their pets provide comfort to grieving clients that participate in the art making. I also didn't expect like participants really like the idea of having like a specific amount of sessions. So that was very interesting. And the minimum value products have not changed. I have first like the one by myself. I just need more social media presence. But I have testimonials and I already do some workshop in my research. And the other part would be if I partnership with the veterinarian, would be like partner with the veterinarian, determine interprotocollar palliative care options, and determine the appointments. And what I have changed is that I might go by art as therapy instead of art therapy because it's just a licensed things. And I will be creating in my own therapeutic art pet plus tool and possibly providing training to mental health practitioners and creating basic art kit for the customer. And with this, I'm gonna leave you with a quote
Just to let
from.
you know, that was 2 minutes.
And that's it. Thank you.
Nice. Can you go back to slide number 4?
Slide number 4. Yes.
Okay. This is where I think that your proof of concept is there. I think the big thing for me as a business idea is how you roll out the sessions or whatever that is, and like how you package it, how you price it, how you execute it is going to be sort of the next step. I mean, we'll go through branding and mission statement and all that, but like moving into the next further sessions in the next year, next semester, it's really going to be understanding like what the pricing model is and how the person who's grieving can purchase and use it, right?
In this case, I was providing the kit, like the art materials. So
I don't actually need you to tell me right now. I'm just telling you, and
yeah.
this is going to be the questions I'm going to be asking.
Thank you.
Carl?
You did a great job. I just, I was wondering when you started, because you have such a specific market, like how you're going to find people, because you can't just go to Washington Square Park, right? Because it's such a specific thing. So how did you find like the veterinarians and stuff? Was it random? Was it people that you already knew? Like, how did you go about that?
It's basically with people that I already knew. My partner.
That's great. Leveraging your network.
Yeah. So basically the idea, that's what I want to really partner with more vets, because they are the key for my success, because it was very easy for me to find participants by month. But if I go straight to the vet, who's the one who's dealing with them, it will be completely game changer.
Wonderful. Great. Well, great work. And yeah, that's exactly like I was saying, leveraging your network and then building from there. So excellent work.
Thank you.
Good job. Yeah. All right, next.
Hello, can you hear me?
And way to have it prepared to upload. That was great.
We are Team Evoke, and our project is about redirecting rescued food from retail stores to students. We spoke to a bunch of and interviewed a bunch of students from different colleges, where we asked them about their general background, goals, needs, the opportunities that we looked at, tasks, observations, any barriers and frustrations. We identified 2 types of customer, the first one being that has a priority of cost. The 3 key points that we found out was the student is health conscious but has a strict budget set for her groceries and cannot exceed it. The second one was that she buys groceries from her college pantry and so is open to initiatives from college. And the third one was that her budget and prices of groceries influenced her cooking. The second type we did identify was that had a priority of time. Again, identifying 3 key points, out of which the first one was that she does not have the time to go shopping and plan meals. The second one was cares about healthy food, but does not have the time to read labels or understand any nutritional value. And the third one was that she needs the process to be easy, so she does not waste time. So we interviewed these students from Pratt Institute, SVA, Columbia University, and Hudson County Community College. When we told them about the initiative that we wanted to propose, what people said was close to expiry dates did not bother them. Second one was students trust food from campuses. And then the third one was students are too tired to plan out meals. So our MVP is to envision our service to be an online platform that allows customers to purchase rescued food from trusted retailers. The solution makes more sense being targeted towards food nutrition insecure students on college campuses that don't have the time to shop or plan their meals, and placing special emphasis on the cost and time. So the pilot of this project will be launched at Pratt. So we look to partner with local
That's 2 minutes, by the
grocery
way.
stores in proximity at Pratt. Thank you.
I have one question. Did students really trust the food on campus?
Uh-huh.
That was, wow, that's like, that was, I remember when I was in school, people were just like, don't eat food on campus. It's like great, you know, Z meat, you're gonna get sick, don't eat food on
Hospital
campus.
food.
Yeah, cook your own food or eat pre-processed food from the C-store. Don't eat from the cafeteria. I still won't eat from the cafeteria.
Just
I'm
to like
surprised to hear that.
clarify, they said that they trusted getting packaged food, not from the cafeteria, but all
Yeah.
of the initiatives that happen on campus, like the pantry and all of that. They really trust the food from campus more than outside because they think that there's no way an institution would sell
Would
students.
put their, yeah, would
Okay.
put their students in a health issue.
Yeah, sorry, I was imagining it as the cafeteria food. Okay, that makes better sense to me. That makes much better sense to me. Okay. And now go back to the MVP. So. Oh, there we go. Okay, so solution makes targeting food nutrition. Time plan and meals. Okay. I'm trying to understand how this looks as a product. As like, I come and I buy, I get like I get groceries, I get pre-made stuff. What do I
Is it
get?
like HelloFresh?
That's what
Go
we
on.
were talking about too. So that's what we need to figure out. The thing is that students are really into the idea of being able to get meals from college. So we asked a few students if they wanted to look at, if they would be okay getting prepackaged meals, a little bit like HelloFresh, but
Yeah.
without restricting the quantity. And we got very mixed reviews about
Yeah,
that.
we got mixed reviews.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think there's still a little bit of work in defining this. I think you're onto something, and I think starting local and with the Pratt community makes total sense. I think it's understanding like what this MVP looks like being given to the people that need it, want to use it, and then partnering with people that are, you know, it's food that's about to go bad, right? That's the theory.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I totally, I mean, just the fact that they're saying we're not worried about expiration dates, we know we're going to use it right now,
Mhm.
is a huge win in your research. So like, let's take that and figure out how to package it and move it forward, right, Carl?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Great work. I've been really impressed so far with people's work. It's really great to see that you're being so thoughtful and putting in all this effort. So great job.
Thank you.
Nice. Next.
Hi, is it sharing?
Yeah, it looks great.
Okay. Just a reminder. So the company is called Kumiko. It's to bring traditional Japanese design to modern everyday application. And specifically, the product that I'm making is the tatami bento. It's a bento box that uses modular dividing system inspired by traditional tatami mats. So as a quick summary, here are my 3 profiles. So first one is Jake. He's a college student. He has a very active lifestyle. He has to commute to college, and so he uses a lot of energy. And so he knows how much food he needs to pack. And so he needs something that could help satisfy his own diet. And school food is not reliable. Profile 2 is Amanda, who is a 40-year-old mother with 2 preschoolers, and she needs a simple and quick way of sorting out her food portions for her family because she doesn't have the time to think about what she's going to cook. And third profile is a 70-year-old woman who is pescatarian and puts great focus on her nutrition due to her age. And so she just needs something that is simple and easy to use that could help divide up her nutrition in her meals. So in terms of the data, here's the summary. The people I approached first was some of the your classmates, professors, family members that I thought would be interested in such products. So people who cared about their nutritional intake or people who packed food. And most people said, for those who did pack food or care about their nutritional intake, they gave my design a pretty high score in practicality wise. So it was out of 5 and it was all 4 out of 5. So it showed that they thought that my design was practical, and an average estimated price of what they would pay was $25. Some were more, some were less. And not much design feedback was given other than one thing, which was the idea of, because my current design is, it has a sliding lid, and one friend who I was on a call with, he mentioned that it might not be secure enough in the long term because natural materials degrade. And so that's something that I would be improving on over the course of the next few weeks, I guess. So yeah.
All right.
Wait, Peter, I gotta ask, this is
Go.
just burning. So I
Yeah.
like this idea a lot. The big thing for me, and I don't know if this came up, is I'm always running around with a backpack. And
Yeah.
so my number one question to you would be like, is it leak proof?
Yeah, so these are meant like, it's based off a classic design, so it's not meant to be like off-road heavy duty, but I have used bento boxes before and they are pretty tight, but I cannot guarantee it's like watertight because this is a natural, like classic design with natural materials, no like plastic
Got it.
or
Okay.
like rubber sealing, you know.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be one thing that you're going to always struggle with, is that anyone who has to carry it on the subway or
True, yeah.
in a backpack where it has to be tipped on its side is going to be super concerned about that.
Yeah, I think in the future for my MVP, like it would be to how can I modernize it, like maximize its function while still
Yeah.
maintaining its true traditional origins.
Yeah, and I
Love
don't
it.
think, I mean, once you don't have to answer that right now. This is what we have
Yeah.
the class for. But I think, like, I mean, you'll see, you know, you're going to be presenting this next week in a pitch competition, and you're going to get a lot of feedback right there. So, but I think you're going to run into a lot of that. Like,
Yeah.
this is great, but how do I carry it on the subway? How do I carry
Yeah.
it without spilling it in my car, type thing? You know?
Yeah.
Can I put something that has not liquid, 'cause it's not designed for that, but something that's moist in it, and it
Right.
doesn't, you know, like there's like
Exactly.
a curry sauce. Is it gonna go everywhere and ruin my seats? You know?
Yeah.
That's where my head went. Yeah, I think it's great though. I really like the design and
Thank you.
style.
Cool. Nice job.
Thank you.
Next.
Hi. Because I was late, so I didn't get a chance to present last session. So I'm gonna start from the very beginning. Sorry. So our business, so it's basically like a furniture rental business. So instead of like purchasing a bunch of business, our service including renting furniture, design and moving in and moving out, also getting rid of the furniture, and the customers will have to pay like a subscription fee every month when owning the furniture. And this is a SWOT analysis we did, but because of time limitations, I'll skip this. And so for the MVP, basically we'll have like a website, and the clients can sign up and provide their basic informations, including the style they want and the size of their house, also special requirements and max lead time, and will provide a quote, like a monthly subscription price. So for the client research, I think we think our target markets including like 3 kinds of people. So the first is working professionals, probably around the age between 25 to 40 years old, and they care about design. They come to New York for a working purpose, but they're not sure if they're gonna stay in New York in the future. And also it's the same idea for the students. And the third type, we think it's a free spirit, which means people who don't want to have commitment. They don't want to own a house and pay mortgage. They prefer like a lifestyle of just renting and traveling around. And so for how do we find our target clients? So we went to 3 locations. So first one is Pratt, because Pratt is is an art school, and our students usually are the people who appreciate aesthetic in their living environment. And the second place we went is
You can skip forward. Due to time, you can skip forward.
Okay. And so we organize some of our data, and
So what did you discover? What did people say about wanting to rent furniture?
So that's what I concluded. I think most people value the business because they value the convenience part of the service, because for them, like the moving and getting rid of furniture is like the most headache part. And that's also what we want to modify our model, because before we think the weights is more on the design part, but after doing the research, we realized that people, like most of the people who would willing to pay for this service values the convenience part more.
Did you ask them how much they're willing to pay monthly to rent, say, furniture for a 1-bedroom apartment?
Yes, so most of people answer maybe around 100 to like 300. I think will be like a reasonable amount.
$100 to $300 monthly for, is that a 1-bedroom apartment? Did you ask 1-bedroom or?
Yes, 1 bedroom.
Okay. That's my biggest question is like, I don't want another bill. You know, I'd rather have a couch and not feel like I owe money on it. Like there's layaway companies. I don't know if no one knows what that doesn't like, there's like new versions of it, but Carl, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I guess this might be a stupid question, but is there like a bed bug guarantee? Because I know that like in New York City that, you know, there's it feels like every few years there'll be this like, you know, panic about anything like it's in the wood. Don't sit on subway benches, you know what I mean? Like, did that come up? Is there a way to address that to alleviate any concerns? Is that a ridiculous question? What do you think?
Sorry, you're frozen.
How about now?
Yep.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, so I think like from our interview, like hygiene is probably like the biggest concern of like most people. And I think that's the part we have to figure out. Yeah. And we're thinking, should we shift the business to like renting office? Because if it's like a startup business, maybe they won't. It's not like as personal as like renting it to individuals.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also think, I mean, I don't want to, because we're going way over here. It's also gonna be defining your competition, because I know there's a lot of services that rent for offices, that even rent for apartments. Then they clean it, store it, bring it back, you know, you can swap things out. So like how you compete against them and like where your secret sauce is versus some very established companies, especially in urban areas.
Yeah, because before we think our competition, like competitive advantage is on the design side, but like right now after we did the interview, we realized like, well, like a lot of people they view the design as like a complementary service. They don't view it as like the most important. So I think that's definitely something we have to figure out.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I'm thinking further in advance. I'm like, how much is it going to cost? How much are people willing to pay? You know, hygiene, cleanliness, and then how do you compete against pretty well established companies already doing this? So good job.
Nice work.
All right, Art Hub. Hello?
Oh, you might be on mute.
Oh, sorry, I didn't
There you are.
realize I muted myself. Yeah, here we are Art Hub. We are Max and Jingyang. About our customer research, we find our three basic type of customer. First is our general observers who are like, they sometimes will visit our exhibitions and just for entertainment during their leisure time. The most concern problem for them is the price. Not many people would like to spend over like $80 for exhibition or show. And another is the artists who have very professional art appreciation and art creation skill. They always like have a close follow-up to the activities in their own expertise field, but they feel like they lack of the opportunity to collaborate with other artists, and they lack the information of what is happening in other art fields. And finally, we have our art managers who would actively seek information about the new art activity and about what is happening around, and they are very willing to participate in the whole process from the production to the consumption. And here is our approach, how we get our information. Basically, we list we list 10 questions for our interviewees. We ask people around us, like students and professor in Pratt, and we also send out this questionnaire out through our networking. So we collect some answers and do our analysis.
So we learned that for general art lovers, they want to have the unique and engaging art experience, but everyone should have equal access to engage in experiences. And for artists, they want a space for artists that they can work together from different fields, and they want to connect to their audiences and make their work understandable and meaningful for them. And for art managers, they want to help artists make balance between art and commerce. And they want to help artists to make audience-oriented product and help them involving more on educational role. So now our MVP is that we want to create an art program that provides artists a model to work with different disciplinary artists and use technology to focus on several social-related topics through art residency and engaging audiences at the early art creation stage. So it leads to several potential products such as workshops, exhibitions, performances, and art by product. Thank you.
All right, I understand the goal, but I'm still understanding the execution. Carl?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand, like, what are you actually selling?
We are selling an exhibition, a multimedia cross-disciplinary exhibition.
But I mean, are you selling like what aspect of it?
Sorry, what do you mean by the aspect?
Like, are you selling the space? Are you selling the logistical planning? The music?
Yeah, what are the streams? What are the revenue streams? How do you make money with this?
We have tickets. We can have other art product based on the exhibition, like selling posters or selling, the magnets.
Yeah, I think that's, just being very clear and like, it's an exhibition. We're going to get artists to show. It's a multimedia. We're going to sell tickets and we're also going to have swag, and that's how we turn a profit. Here's the kind of profit. This is going to be what I think we have to be very clear about, because you guys talk very broadly about a lot of ideas, but you're not really driving down to like one clear, concise idea. Like I literally wrote down art show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Like, I want to attend it. I just was wondering, just so there's part of me that's like, this is great. I love the idea and this seems intriguing. And then there's the part of me that's like, okay, what, if I'm a customer, what am I paying for? You know what I mean? So those are two separate things. So I like the idea. We were just drilling down a little bit on, the specifics.
And you have 4 more sessions to solve it.
I mean, depends on very different exhibitions. It can have different products. It can have very different selling points. We can define them by a single word.
So I
But it's
think,
so broad.
yeah, I think for the purpose of pitching at the end of this is drilling down on one, like, what does it cost to launch one exhibition, and what are you going to get out of it? That's going to be, I think, what we're going to want to show people.
So the actual
Not right,
product.
you don't have to explain it right now. I'm just saying, like, when you start doing your financial model, you're not going to financial model for 1,000 art shows. You're going to financial model for one art show.
Yeah, just getting specific so that then you can then you're making it concrete. And so then people have a very specific idea, and then you can also quantify specifically, like, the execution of that idea.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yep. All right. Next.
Yes. Wait. This one. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so hello, we are Just Do After School. As you know, we provide outdoor learning programs for our clients, and we have 3 potential clients. All of them failed in the educational industry in Hangzhou, China, art education institution, international primary school, and private primary school. So we did interviews with teachers from these 3 categories clients, and we learned that our price is totally acceptable by the art educational institution, that's after school companies. And actually all of them share very common pain points, but their business goals is a little bit slight difference. The art educational institution pay attention more on the revenue, and the primary schools it's focused more on the exam success rate and the policy and the school ranking. So according to the findings, we organized all the information into the MC map. And according to their user journeys, our pains, the most 2 important thing is the contents of the programs and how might we evaluate the programs after the kids attend them. And actually, we provide a lot of things for our clients, so they will gain the directory of the local arts and industries, teaching guidebooks, wonderful tour services, and so on. And the other thing is based on what they say and do, we may need to provide some exhibition service as well in the future. And our promotion channel is very clear from the hear and see social medias and seminars and other places that we can assess the teachers and the schools. That's all. Thank you.
That's really clear. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that from a user standpoint on something like after school education around art, it's like, how do you evaluate if it's successful or not, right? Because art's so subjective. And I think that a lot of parents have that question about students at Pratt.
Yes.
Because if I'm grading on people spending a long time on a painting, but whether I like the painting or not, I'm not grading on, so it's an interesting, I don't grade my students on whether I like their design work, because that's not fair. I grade whether they achieve the goal of the design brief, so I think it's an interesting thing to look at a pain and then try to figure out what metrics you're showing that these students are gaining these skills and how they're gaining it. So actually, I think you guys made a lot, and this is the most beautiful empathy map I've ever seen.
Thank you.
Carl?
Yeah, I was just thinking it's beautiful. And also, was there anything that was a big lesson, something that you learned from asking people about this?
The other thing is it's very interesting. Some teachers, because they got the task from the school that they gonna develop some outdoor learning programs for the kids, and they hire some freelancers to do the illustrations and so on because the workload is too large. And I think it's our opportunity to enter and help them to solve this problem.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, good work.
Very nice. Good job.
Thank you.
All right. Next.
Café Le Soir.
Am I on mute?
We can hear you.
Nope, we can hear you.
Okay, thanks. Where is it? Yeah, the Café Le Soir. The idea is coffee house in the evening, and I went to local coffee shops and interviewed the baristas there, and I went to one that was also a flower shop, so I also interviewed the florist, sorry. And then I also interviewed selected customers that were working in the coffee shops. I went to Pratt's Cafeteria, Student Union, and interviewed students. I also went to other small business establishments like tea shops and interview the owners there to see their opinion on this kind of concept. And my first kind of target audience is college students from 18 to 22, or actually should be 24, 25, because that would include graduate students as well. And then their character traits are basically working a lot and studying a lot, often to late nights. They drink a lot of caffeine or other drinks, and they have pretty low purchasing power. And this I found out from interviewing one particular student, and she was like, I will go to any place that offers Pratt discount. So I think that's something that I can kind of take advantage of into my shop. And also the second one is professionals who have a little bit more of an organized time schedule than students. They work during the day and relax at night. And if they kind of have two, based on my interviews, they kind of have two choices that they would choose from. One is bars and clubs, one is friends' place, and one is to drink, one is to not drink. And there was kind of no in between for them, they suggested. So I feel like this space can be a public friend space for everyone, kind of in between where you can have fun, but also, kind of get cozy. And then the third one is just anyone working in the creative industry with no limit on age. And then the key point here is an appropriate atmosphere and equipment like Wi-Fi's and charging stations for
you can move on. I mean, you can move on. I've read this slide already like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, I just combined everything on this one slide. So
yeah, it's like the conclusions are really all all right.
And, okay, and here.
All right, so yeah, I think you've identified the demographics you're targeting. I think you have, it sounds like people would be interested in this. Now, I remember, was it your idea that you were going to use potentially use other storefronts at night when they're not using them?
Yes. And that was a question I had for the owners and asking them how plausible it is to do that. And they said it might be very challenging unless you're friends with the other owner. And so they can share the rent or property.
Share the revenue,
yeah.
Okay.
Probably like, a trust thing. Like if my baby is this property, would I put it in this person's hands if I didn't have a personal connection to them? And that makes sense.
Yes, that's a big problem.
So
Right,
now that you've done the interviews, what's next?
I think I have to dig into again the possibility of that co-renting space. First of all, dive more into how to rent a space in New York in general, just my own store, and then go to those shops again and asking them instead of this whole like series of questions about the idea, I would focus on that, business practical part of it and see what they think and if they have any experience in doing that.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely send you guys out and do a budgetary analysis of like what would you need for a budget to operate for a year. It's called runway in startups. How much runway do you need to operate for a year before you or how much runway do you need before you turn a profit? And in cases of like brick and mortar, you're gonna have to go and say, how much is rent for a year? How long are commercial leases? Every commercial lease in New York is 10 years. That's the standard minimum commercial lease in New York. So,
Wait,
that'll be the next step,
say-
but it does seem like it's an interesting idea because you're like, unlike diners that are open in, the 24 hours and unlike some coffee shops open, like I'm still trying to figure out like you guys open at 9 p.m. and close at 9 a.m. and then you sleep during the day. You keep the same hours as a bar, but you don't serve alcohol. So,
Well, but bars, they close at like 3 a.m. though, no?
You can stay out later. That's right. You don't have any legal restriction that prevents you from staying open.
Got it. Good to know.
Well, in all honesty, there was this bar in the West Village on McDougal, and it was a coffee bar. It was called Esperanos or whatever, and people used to go, like, this is back when I was like doing professional acting and like bartending, and after we got done with like a 2-3 a.m. shift, I didn't feel like going to drink because I was burnt out, but I just want to decompress, have a chamomile tea. Literally, I went there and it was hopping. So there is, I know for a fact there are examples of this.
There you go. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
Very nice. Good job.
Exactly. Thank you.
All right. Next.
I think it's me. One sec. Okay. I think last time you guys asked me to bring the product, so I brought it. I don't know if I should do that at the beginning or the end, probably at the end, or what do you tell me?
Just go.
Okay, so I made 3 customer profiles. There's 3 different people that I think that this would interest. So because it's going to be a collectible, the sneakerhead or hypebeast was one of the people that I thought would make sense in this category. An artist or someone from a creative background, and then an interior designer or a fine art collector, which is the higher end of it. Where did I find them? And then I kind of listed out where I would find them and the different details of their persona. So I went out to them, I handed them the product, and I kind of wanted to, what I found difficult through the process was that they weren't understanding the references that the product was making. And they thought that the product itself was compelling, but they could tell that there was something deeper to it. And they wish that I had a visual asset or something that helped me explain to them all the different pieces that came together for the product. So that's really the quick rundown. And then how is it altered my MVP is, I think it added a massive emphasis on the product, like everything else outside the product, because so much of my attention was focused on the actual piece. That I didn't realize that the references were just as important, and the packaging and all the assets that will surround it, because it'll help the customer understand the pieces that came together. And I think from each different group, like the artists were more interested in the process of how I made it and like what material it's made out of, whereas other people were curious about like other artists that have seen it and feedback, and they were more driven by the association of the product. And then the third group was more on like the scarcity, like how rare is it? How many are you selling? And blah, blah, blah.
Interesting.
So
now can we see it?
Yeah. I have two.
Oh, wow.
So
How'd you make that? Is that 3D printed?
no, so I originally made 3D printed them. They went through like 5 or 6 revisions, but then this one is created. There was one with resin. This one's actually molded because this is
Like
one of the
blow
more
molded,
final
blow molded or injection molded?
injection molded.
So is it solid? How heavy is it?
Yeah, no, the body of it, the base of it is not as heavy. There are some aspects that are heavier, like the legs are very heavy.
So it's
the hook is heavy.
rotational molded, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And for each customer, what was helpful was with each customer, I was like, okay, what color would they like best? And I made 3 colorways. I don't have the third one because it was very hard to make, but I made a simplistic one that's more like creative, artsy, visually compelling, and then another one that was a little bit more detailed and like hand painted.
All right, I have a million questions about, about how you, did you get the other rotational molding done in Asia?
Yeah.
And it's hard tool molding. What's your MOQ?
1,000 pieces. That's why I split it into 3 colors, because they said the maximum I can do is 3 colors and the minimum amount of pieces is 1,000.
Okay.
So I was trying to get that as much variation as possible.
Yeah,
in this
we have,
first run.
we're gonna get deep into this.
I was gonna say,
all right,
Peter, you just dropped all pretense of teaching these, and you're just spitting bars right there about a specific product.
Well, no, I'm just curious because I rarely
Yeah.
see someone show me a fully manufactured product out of a mold at Pratt mailed. So have you ordered quantity, or those are samples?
These are samples, but I actually am like placing the order within. I was supposed to have confirmed yesterday and I didn't, but I should be by the end of the week.
All right.
If I
Drag
can.
your feet a little bit.
I've been
Drag your feet
working
a
on
little
it
bit.
for
Make sure you
a
don't-
very long time.
Is it,
What?
I don't want to take everyone else's time on this. I want to talk to you about
Okay.
your shipping methods, your packaging methods, how you're bringing it into the country. And I want to talk a little bit more about just how you negotiated the deal with your supplier, because I want to just make sure you're protected.
Yeah, my dad has a previous relationship with the supplier, so I
Okay,
was able
okay.
to use that relationship. But I have so many questions in the shipping and like importing,
Cool.
so many
Let's
questions
set up
in
a
that
time
realm.
just to have a 35-minute, 40-minute conversation, just because I want to make sure that it sounds like you have some good family, relationships with manufacturing already, which makes me feel a little more comfortable. But I just see people go manufacture stuff and then they don't have a plan to sell it, and they have all this shit sitting in their garage. So, and that's a pretty large product. So, I kind of want to know what your cost
Yeah.
of goods is and what your MSRP is going to be, and what your packaging is going to look like, and what your launch plan is going to be. So, but cool, very beautiful looking. Let's set up a time to talk. Okay. I'll shoot you an email.
Okay. Please do. Looking forward. So
Carl,
thank
sorry.
No way. I don't have anything to add to that. That's your bailiwick, and I was impressed the way you're just dropping terms, which I didn't even know. It's about marketing terms. But anyways, good job. And next, who do we have?
Let me share my screen.
Great.
Sorry. Oh, okay. Okay. So I might take longer than 2 minutes because
Yeah, you have some time to introduce because you pivoted. So you can first explain your pivot and then let us know for the 2 minutes for your market research.
Okay, sounds good. So this isn't a logo, it's just my idea for now. But it's called Safe Space. So it's basically utilizing biofeedback and machine learning algorithms to provide an alternative intervention for PTSD. How do I go next? Okay. Oh, it's cutting off a lot of my slide. Okay. Is there a way to, sorry. Okay, let me just do it this way. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, here's the next slide. So summary. So basically there's there's a lot of interventions for PTSD, but it doesn't work for everyone. For example, there's a lot of resistant to medication, or they have trouble seeking therapy, and it's really hard to retain like a consistent treatment, especially if it doesn't work for someone, they kind of just give up immediately. So I kind of want to create like an alternative intervention to tackle these issues and provide individualized and holistic interventions for regulating PTSD symptoms, and also helping users identify triggers for their environment. So here are some core features of my products. So there would be like biosensors in the wearable device, and this can help users identify the type of PTSD they have, for example, like dissociative versus non-dissociative type, and target like avoidance behaviors, different type of symptoms that come with PTSD. So it would basically passively collect like physiological measurements, but there's also an option to provide like subjective input from the users. So this would help them gain more awareness of their triggers. And so based on like the feedback that the app would provide users, and if it were to be effective for them, it would be train the machine learning algorithms to provide more effective interventions. And so this would create like a more individualized approach for each person, because not like a lot of PTSD treatments nowadays are very much like universalized and not like helpful for everyone. So I really want to focus on each individual and how like the manifestation of their PTSD. So this would also give them the option to save their data, visualize it, and also share it with providers to kind of help with the treatment process if they are in therapy currently. Okay, next slide. Sorry, this isn't optimal way of showing this, but
It's okay. We just got to make sure it's not too long on the explanation. So you might want to just drive straight to what the product is and what the goal is.
yeah, so this is basically an overview of the product. There's like a few different long-term goals that I have. So it would start off with the wearable device and the app connected to it. But then I also want to move on to the next product which provides like an automatic experience, so users aren't like enforced to kind of interact with the app itself. So this would be like with aromatherapy and speaker to create like an automated sensory experience. And then this would also be able to connect to like temperature control system to help regulate like their sleep patterns during the night, especially for people who have like issues with nightmares and stuff. So a few challenges are, this is definitely like a sensitive target audience. So it was really hard to find willing participants to interview. And like the price would be a huge drawback, especially because there's a lot of research like that needs to be done. There is currently like a lot of research done on the features that I want to include, but it hasn't been done like all together. So I would have to do several trials, and this would take like several years to make happen. So I do have like a few target customers in mind. The main ones are anyone experiencing PTSD, and I did break it down to specific types of, or like people who struggle with specific things, such as not having effectiveness in their prior treatment. I also want to expand it towards people who want to take a more holistic and natural approach to well-being, and also help like allow providers to use this as well to inform their treatment process. Next slide.
Okay, so are we now on to like the customer part?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
So overall, I interviewed 12 people. I wanted to interview more people with PTSD, but it was really hard to target them. So I eventually had to do like Instagram poll, like Instagram story to find participants. But overall, like I did all of them like over call, FaceTime or Zoom, call for people who didn't feel comfortable like talking face to face about it. I also got like a psychotherapist and someone well-versed in mindfulness and well-being, just to gain their insight, and if I could incorporate, if they could see it being utilized. So some key takeaways, this kind of confirmed like my prior research on like the effectiveness of antidepressant, a lot of like the first line of treatment is CBT and antidepressants, but there's not much like effectiveness in the participants that I interviewed specifically. And they particularly noticed that they didn't like how like Western providers tended to like hop onto like medication as the first approach, because it didn't really target the root cause. So like all of my interviewees really love the product idea and wished like something like this existed already. They did make comments about like if this was actually feasible, but someone else said that there's so much like research and things happening with like machine learning and wearable devices nowadays, so they thought it could be feasible in the future. The psychotherapist provided some insight on how to incorporate different EMDR approaches, like possibly like playing sound from different locations. And I also got insight from the person well-versed in mindfulness, and they gave me like resources for like trauma-informed mindfulness, because a lot of people who do meditation can tend to like, it could re-traumatize them. So making that more trauma sensitive
this is great. I just got to cut you off for time, but I think like I'm so impressed with the thoughtfulness and the amount of research that you did. Just one thing is I just put in a link to haptic feedback wearable device for anxiety. I'm wondering if you came across that.
Yes. Yeah, there's like a lot of wearable devices nowadays, but they do allow you to interact with your data and view it and possibly share it, but isn't much like emphasis on actually providing interventions in that moment that someone is like out of balance physiologically.
Gotcha.
So
okay,
like
that's the distinction.
Yeah, my core
right,
value
so,
is like creating that for people.
Yeah, I mean, you did a ton of work here. I think it's going to be sort of compressing all the information into something that's more palatable and bite-sized for anybody, especially investors. You know, generally when we talk about talking to investors, it's like most decks don't have giant blocks of text in it. It's short text, you know, big images, quick. My question is, and this is going to come down to the product-based part. So you said you want to develop a wearable, but you don't know if the technology is there.
Actually, there's like a lot of research, like there's a lot of features currently in wearable devices that I do want to incorporate, but there's also research on different biodetectors that were used for PTSD. So like, for example, like GPS tracking, like for to detect avoidance behavior and heart rate variability. So I wanted to utilize that to create the distinction between
no, I mean, all I'm talking about like building a physical object with a computer board in it that tracks these kind of things and then kicks it back to an app that then kicks that information over to a healthcare provider or whoever else. So like, you know, just quick example, the Oura Ring, that little slide-on ring that you see advertised everywhere, you know, they spent $10 million developing that. So like from and like, I mean, we'll have someone probably speak who developed a haptic wristband that helps the blind navigate cities instead of using dogs. And, you know, they've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars just getting through prototypes. So from what I'm trying to dig into here is, you know, what does a physical MVP of this product look like that can give data back? Or is it building an app that works with current products that are on the market? And you don't have to answer that now. I'm just giving you the information that hardware that talks to software is a very, very difficult thing to build. And I've done it and I've helped people do it. And it's like one of those things where like you need electrical engineers, software engineers, mechanical engineers, and you need them all to design things that work together and that can be upgraded and that can be manufactured. And it just gets like, it is just like, and I can connect you to people you can talk to about this. New Lab in the Navy Yard, there's a ton of companies doing all sorts of wild things. But hardware is hard and it's hard for a reason, you know?
Yeah, that's like the main thing I'm struggling with is the actual feasibility and how to create this product, and it would take like a lot of research and trials to actually make it happen.
It could be great to be on an Apple Watch, right? So that way we don't have to wear multiple devices, but maybe there's a way you could take this idea, like Peter said, and use it, you know, incorporate it with already existing devices. That's one possible.
Yeah, so that's actually, so what the company is called WearWorks. You can look him up. It's a Pratt founder. He was an industrial design student. He started messing around with haptics and he built his own haptic wristband that vibrates. But the Google Watch has haptics in it. The Apple Watch has haptics in it. So they've actually pivoted more into a software as a service company, and they're putting it on the Google platform. They also sell their own wristband, but they don't think their cost leader is going to be their physical product. They think it's going to be in the data services they can provide using other people's platforms to and their software.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. So I know it's a lot to like, I mean, I know I just said a whole lot and like it's a lot to absorb. Keep all that research. It's great. Figuring out how we package it up into something we can sell, whether it's a software or a hardware or both, it will be the big question.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Cool.
Good job.
All right. Last is, we had one more, right? Mark Films.
Okay. Sorry, let me share my screen. Okay, so not gonna lie, I've been pretty busy over the last month because I am in the middle of producing a film at the moment. So I'm directing and producing. I've raised $11,000 over the last 3.5 weeks for the film, which is over our production goal. Phase 1 of fundraising is done. So moving on. All right. So target market. So we have our movie and TV viewers. Lisa, 22-year-old postgraduate student who's interested in architecture and film, hoping to learn about global events and interesting projects occurring design-wise, cellular device, as well as subscriptions to production companies such as Netflix, Amazon, Disney+. We have the small and independent artist, 29-year-old middle-class freelance filmmaker in New York City who owns his own equipment such as some cameras and lenses, maybe a gimbal, maybe a drone, and almost a decade worth of experience with filmmaking, design, and drawn to non-fictional storytelling. Then we have big name streaming services and studios. So Jesse, 36-year-old middle high class film and photography studio owner in New York City of 7 Line Studio, who owns 2 large studios with a full EQ, loading dock, fully functioning studio, which he can operate from anywhere in the world on his iPhone, basically, because he has cameras installed, which is the production company which I just worked with, which is a real production company called 7 Line Studios. So I interviewed some subjects, 10 movie and TV viewers of nonfiction content in various streaming services, 18 young freelance filmmakers with interest in nonfiction storytelling, and 4 big name streaming services and partner studios in New York City and Los Angeles, including Apple TV, Netflix producer Jesse and Nadia from 7 Line Studios, as well as some EQ rental studios like Flug, CSI, and Gotham, which I've been working with for a few years now. So what I learned is that viewers' perception of nonfiction films is mostly a violent one. Lots of nonfiction content that is currently out right now is perceived as either overly disturbing, overly dramatized, and not fact-driven, which can be entertaining, but ultimately doesn't serve the purpose of the content. And a lot of viewers' perception of nonfiction films, photojournalism even, and television series are not representative of new figures in culture, in media. And then lots of young freelance filmmakers are looking for production houses to join. They want workers' rights, they want access to fundraising opportunities, they want access to a larger network of equipment. They own their own equipment, which they could potentially rent out and, and basically join a larger pool of equipment renters, if you will, to create larger, more sustainable films. And then owners of film and photography studios are looking to work, obviously, with people who have a budget. There are people who want to make profit, and there are people who, want to essentially be able to trust. Sorry, my camera's a little. So be able to trust the people who they're working and partnering with. And usually those are older, more experienced producers who have work under their belt, which you know, and then larger streaming services want to pick up more name brand producers and directors, but when presented with a strong pitch, you know, are willing to purchase films for streaming revenue. And so, you know, that's where my MVP comes in and kind of changes. Because we need to understand that, you know, making profit is still something that needs to happen here, and hiring a crew of, you know, developers and filmmakers and producers and directors and writers, and all of the above, they all need to be paid. So, you know, I have some long-term goals. I have some expansions to my MVP prior, you know, high and low expenses, things that can happen short-term, things that can happen long-term, to kind of invest in that, investing in studio culture and these partnerships with rental companies, you know, basic website, networking and events, which, you know, are all profitable. So yeah, that's my basic thing. And then this is just a little update on some stuff that is actually currently happening, which, yeah, I had about 65 people donate. I had a GoFundMe, and then I reached out to private investors of independent companies, and I got one of them to match my GoFundMe of 5K. So, and then I had another private investor.
Good job.
Thank you.
That's I mean, that's $11,000 is a huge amount to raise. So good job.
Also, when you, let us know when you want to premiere it or whatever, and we'll help advertise it on social media and stuff at Pratt, and just like, you know, support the Pratt community. It's really awesome.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Carl, what do you think? This is your world, man.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like it sounds like you really know what you're doing. You're like well connected and stuff like that. So I guess what was the biggest change for you as a result of this, you know, speaking to people?
Sorry, I'm mute.
Sorry, I like muted myself, started to talk, and then lost my mouse.
You didn't want us to hear you swallowing the orange juice. Yeah.
No, that would not be good. Yeah, so I think the biggest thing that I learned is investment of studio culture and following, you know, SAG union rights. Like actors and filmmakers pay, you know, X amount of dollars to have SAG union rights, but we as students can't really afford to have to be a part of that union and have those rights. But so it's
not only is it hard to afford, but you have to, like you mentioned earlier, you have to accrue a certain amount of experience as well, right? So
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, picking your team, especially at this age, at this level in college, where your team is limited to a certain amount of people, is extremely difficult. And to have, you know, to have a team of 20 people and not have a single rotten egg is, you know, I'd say in my book, a good accomplishment, a good thing at the end of the day. But as a producer and as a director, even though it's not a SAG union shoot, to feed your crew every 6 hours minimum, to let people go when you let people go, to send out, to, you know, have COVID regulations and have people send in, you know, rapid tests, because those are all
see, I didn't do, when I was at NYU doing you know, acting in student films and stuff, then we didn't have to, obviously that was before COVID, we didn't have to deal with that. I didn't even think about that. Wow.
Yeah, so like all of those things, and building studio culture and making people, you know, responsible and aware of equipment, and making people aware of, you know, studio ownership, and just lots of things that have to do with respect, especially when you have people working for you for free. And especially when you're paying people as well, you know, on a higher budget.
I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but we got to get moving because we got to start talking about the next assignment.
Sure.
Great work, really good work, and congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate
congratulations on raising the dough. Good job. And at least you're learning. Just keep that, you know, studio culture, business culture. Like you said it, and then don't forget it. So, all right. So, in 7 minutes, I'm going to give you guys your assignment here, and I don't have a lot of time to give you.
But it was worth it, because I just want to say real quick, I was so impressed with you guys. So excellent work. It really shows every single one of you is putting in a lot of thought and care into these. We love it, and so Anyways, Peter.
Hi, I just want to say something really quick. I think our group got skipped or something. Our group is the Roma Studio group. Yeah.
All right,
We
so we have
haven't
one more.
present. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
EE, do you want to start sharing the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so in the past month, we went to local candle shops to interview people there to ask about their shopping habit. We also interviewed people who we knew are have bought candle before or they're candle lovers. Lastly, we also posted a online survey and analyzed the statistics we got from the responses. So we developed a user group and did this empathy map. So in general, our user group are young working professionals who are looking to relieve stress or improve their living quality by using affordable scented candles. Yeah, do you want to go to next slide? EE, do you want to go to next slide? Yeah, so during our research, there's also some key takeaways. Before we proposed like possible items to sell as like for example lotion candles or a massage bar, but then we decided to focus on aromatherapy candle and candle making kit just because in our research people had more concern about trying skincare products from a startup business. They also have higher expectation on like qualities for candles that are also has skincare functions. And then our research also showed people are more interested in handmade candle over essential oil, perfume, stuff like that. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah. And all of our people, like a lot of people we interviewed, they said that they only buy candles a few times a year. So we were thinking we need to encourage more purchase. So we decided to probably sell candles that are in smaller sizes, or we allow customers to trade in several empty cups for a new candle to attract returning customers and also let them develop their shopping habit, and our store becomes their go-to shops pretty much for when purchasing candles. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah, and we also decided to so our research, a lot of young people, they say that their top two concerns when buying candles are the scent and then the prices. So we decided to probably use sales or student discount to encourage purchases. And we also thought about the idea of candle refill kit where you can we sell the kit where you can make candles at home by yourself, and then you can reuse the like the empty cups from before. In that case, we can reduce our making costs and like
Okay.
customers can get more affordable candles.
Please bring it, land the plane.
Yeah, and then people are also more likely to buy from physical shop than online store. So we thought maybe we could sell at like farmers market or winters market and work with local shops to like pretty much partner with them and then let them sell our candles.
Okay.
Yeah, and then a lot of responses.
You can skip to the end. What did you? So is this everything you've learned?
Yeah, pretty much. So we kind of
So yeah, I mean, next time you can
our-
just present that we want to do an aromatherapy kit, we want to do a package down prototype, and we want to do pop-up events.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for everyone, I have clients that have $100 million businesses and present ideas to me within 3 minutes. So like learning how to be concise and quick and like what you found out is a very important thing. And I'll say this because I was just meeting with someone who he literally brings beverages to market, and he brought Vita Coco, vitamin water, and I was pitching him an idea. He goes, "You have 30 seconds, and if you go over, I'm not gonna. I don't care." He's like, "If you can't give me everyone, we're gonna be next class. We got to be super tight. Whatever time limit we have, we're just gonna cut you off because this got a little out of hand here. So not just you, everybody. So now we have 2 minutes So my feedback is, I like the ideas. I definitely think your target market is good. I think you figured out who you're targeting, and I think your go-to-market strategy makes total sense. We're not even at go-to-market strategy yet, so identifying that farmers markets and pop-up shops is a great place to be was a very good thing to figure out.
Nice job.
Thanks.
It's
Sorry,
really good.
I don't mean to rush you guys, but we literally, I have to be somewhere like right after this. So
That's right.
now I have 1 minute to present your homework and no examples. So your guys' homework is as follows. We're going to be asking you to create a marketing, branding, and what I call the important art of storytelling. And the theory of this is going to be, we need to know what your brand is. And, you know, we had the nice talk with Ray where he gave a very clear idea of like, as a startup, you are going to be kind of all over the place with your brand and like your mission statement and everything else. So this is the assignment that's going to go out, and it's going to talk about how a brand is an experience. It's how people feel when they talk about your product. And I'm going to give you a couple TED Talks to watch by two of the best people I believe in branding, who are Simon Sinek and Seth Godin. And I want you guys to watch those. And then for your homework, I'm going to ask you guys to create a very simple mission and brand statement. One or the other, doesn't have to be both. And then a very basic brand guide. So you're going to sort of craft your mission statement, and that's going to be sort of, I think, someone brought it up earlier, but like the mission that your company stands for, that you're building toward, you know. So if you're saying we want to be an interior design firm that focuses mostly in trying to be as sustainable as possible, it's clearly stated in your mission. Now, mission statements and brand statements are not multiple paragraphs. They're very short, and there's something that people can gravitate to. They're a little more than a tagline, but they're way less than like a white paper or an executive summary or something like that. And then you're going to use Ray's. I'm going to give you a questionnaire, and then you're going to use Ray's website. This is, I've updated the homework now, have the correct website in it. You're going to fill out the questionnaire. You're going to maybe use Ray's website to help you define some of these things like your mission statement and some of this other stuff. And then you're going to give me, you know, some of you already have it, a company name, a brand statement, an intended brand tone, a one-liner or a slogan, a graphic, a font, and a color set. I'll share a basic brand DNA guide with you that shows all of this and some examples in your homework email, which will go out this weekend. And you'll also receive, hold on. I gotta go here, but then I gotta go here. And this is what I was asking Ray about earlier. Everyone can see what I'm sharing, right? Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Now we can. Yep. For a second it was frozen. Now it works.
Yeah. So when I asked Ray, I said, Ray, you know, all these companies, you know, from the pentagrams to your local graphic design and marketing firm, when you come to them and say, I have an idea, they say, can you fill this questionnaire out? And this is, you know, what are you building? Are you branding a company, a product, or an individual? In some cases, like Frost case, she's an individual, but she's also building a company, and the products kind of go inside of there. In Ray's case, he's building a product. It's like a physical toy, you know. So you guys have to kind of define, what are you branding and marketing for? You know, what's its name? Why was that name selected? Is there a story behind it? You know, it's nice. Like, you know, a lot of great brands have stories behind them. You know, what is the nature of your service? So you're going to go through all this out. You're going to sort of identify, you know, the words that, you know, don't pick every word on here. Try to pick 3. It says as many as apply, but really, you know, like some people will be like, I want to be authoritative and fun. I'm like, that's tough. And then you're going to figure out, you know, we've already defined this. Who's your demographic? What are the personalities, you know? You're going to fill this out, and then your brand positioning, which you've already done as well. And then you're going to kind of go into your aesthetics. What is the goal of the aesthetic look of your brand? And some of you already showed some very nice, clean aesthetics. I think, you know, Dear Creators had it. You know, I think The Art of Honoring, I saw you kind of getting there as well. So like, what is the aesthetics you're aiming for? And then you're gonna create in the end and present next week a short brand DNA guide with a mission statement and some sort of tagline. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes, indeed.
Are there any questions about what I just rapidly ran through?
Any slide limitations, like 2 minutes kind of
It's gonna
thing?
be less. It's actually gonna be much less. It's gonna be probably two minimum, 3 at the most. And I'll tell you exactly which 3 I want. And I think that's part of the problem today is that people were beyond the 4 slide requirement. So like stick to the amount of slides. Like I sit in board meetings all the time and I give people, I'm like, I want 5 points. I don't want, you can be less, but you can't be more. I was like, you have 3 minutes each, don't go over it. So we're gonna try to get it a little tighter so there's more time to kind of go over your assignments, because I feel like I could share a lot of information with you guys now, but I have to run out the door to go to dinner. I will say this, if you're all Pratt students, tomorrow we are hosting a design challenge for Boone. It's a child product brand at Pratt Studios. The design challenge is in conjunction with Pratt Design School, Boone, the toy company, and I'll put it in the chat, and a company named Pinkertini that helps toy product designers. That's a weird way to put it. Toy inventors is really the term. Toy invention is its own category. It's not really design. It helps toy inventors bring their products to market. So the way the toy invention, and this is going to be as short as I can put it together. The way toy invention works is you come up with an idea for a toy. Normally it's a function, not a look. It's so sorry, Ray. It's not like I need a new toy that looks like Mickey Mouse. It's like, can you make Mickey Mouse do a backflip? Do you have that mechanism? You submit that toy invention mechanism to whoever, Mattel, Hasbro. They say, we love that. We want to license it from you. And they pay you a royalty to use your mechanic or function or play pattern in their toy. Sometimes it's used for one season. Sometimes it becomes, like a board game where it's used over and over again. You get paid a royalty because they're using it. So I work with toy inventors and I work with toy invention companies to bring students together with them. So tomorrow, noon to 2, we're doing a brainstorming session and an info session with someone who works directly with toy inventors and the Boone design director to create a new sort of play accessory for the Boone Grub high chair. We'll have 2 high chairs on hand. And if you feel like signing up, we'll tell you how to sign up, and you have until December 19th to sign up, and then until January 21st to submit ideas. So, and I'm actually going to meet with all of them right now to talk about tomorrow. So if you're free and you're interested in toy invention or toy design or licensing products and inventing products, come by Pratt Studios, 4th floor, PS 401. Tomorrow, you can meet me in person. You can also see sort of what this world of toy invention's like. And then we'll make sure your homework goes out by Monday. And you guys have a lot of work to do over break, and have a great break. So, Carl, I'll turn it over to you with that.
Guys, we'll see you in February. Thanks. This was a long session, but it was a great session. I'm really proud of you guys for doing amazing work and really impressed. And I'm psyched to see you in February and just keep this journey going, and then, see you pitch. I think it's really great. I'm really impressed.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good break.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Yeah, have
Later,
a
guys.
great break.
Thank you.
Peter, Carlos, August, thank you. Have a great day, guys.
Later, man.
Bye.
Bye.